What's up guys, in this video you'll build OpenSea blockchain Web 3.0 app with Next.js. This is version 2 of OpenSea, so this is going to be a lot more stable and we're going to be using some really cool tools to build this, so you don't want to miss it. You're going to be using Tailwind to style this app. You're going to learn how to create your own marketplace on the blockchain using Thirdweb. We'll be connecting to the blockchain through the cutting edge Infura RPC nodes. You definitely want this technology in your repertoire. You'll then create your own NFT collection and mint your very own NFTs. In this app, you'll also be able to list and buy NFTs on your own marketplace using the Thirdweb SDK. We'll add authentication to this app using Metamask. And the best part, we'll be building this entire project using Replit as our online IDE. And the main benefit of it is you'll be able to follow along, and guaranteed every single one of you will be able to follow along, because most of the times things get lost in installation, your versions are off, and most people just fall off for that reason. But with Replit, you'll be able to follow along, click one button, fork a REPL, and boom, you can follow along literally everything that we're doing without having to worry about something not working. Okay, I hope you're excited, because then we can work together, build a project so you can add it to your portfolio, and you can then go towards getting a job. With that said, here's one really important thing that I need you to do if you want to build this project, you want to get that job, and you want to level up your career. I'm going to put this link, and it says join.replit.com/cp-OpenSea. That's the link. It's also in the description. Go ahead on there right now. As you have this video open, don't close out of this video, click that right now and hit fork. Okay, make sure you hit that fork right there, because that's how we'll be able to work together, and that will have already your Next app pre-installed. It'll already have all your dependencies installed. It'll have your Thirdweb SDKs installed. It'll have everything that you need installed, ready to rock and roll. So then you can just quickly follow along with the tutorial, build the app without worrying about any of the headache, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so go ahead, click the link, hit fork, create an account, and then boom, you're ready to go follow along. So on one tab, then you'll have your Replit. The other tab, you'll be coding along with my YouTube video. So with that said, I hope you're excited. Smash the like button and let's go right into the video.
What is up YouTube? It's Lance, a couple hours from the future, and I just wanted to take the time to showcase the beautiful app that we'll be making together. So as you can see, this is the Connect Metamask button, and once you click it, you'll be prompted to connect your wallet. And if I hit next here, and then I hit connect, bam, we're instantly into the app that we'll be making. So if you take a look down, these are all the CryptoPunks available in our marketplace together. And guess what? These are real NFTs that live on the blockchain. If I were to click any one of them, let's say this one, I get directed to a dynamic page with all the information in the URL, right? If I go back and I click on another one, let's click the clown one. Look at that, it generates a unique URL for every NFT you create. So it's dynamic as well. Then now for my favorite part, I can click this buy now, and it's for 0.02 ETH. If I click buy now, look at that. I'm buying it for literally what I listed it as. So get excited guys. If I were to hit confirm, there we go. I can just check my MetaMask account. You can see that it's pending. And there we go. And now it's done pending. So that means the transaction was confirmed. I lost 0.02 ETH, meaning we were able to purchase these NFTs here. And if I were to go back, you give your app a second. Look at that. The clown one that we just bought is removed from the marketplace as it should. So do you guys want to learn how to build your very own marketplace? I know I would. Let's get to the video. So to get started, we're going to be using Replit.com for this. And if you're unfamiliar, all Replit is, it's an in-browser IDE where you can write code in. One thing that makes Replit unique is that it's online. So anything that can connect to a web browser, for example, your phone and tablet, you can write code in. Right. Another cool thing that I like about Replit is that you can manage your environment. So any Node.js libraries you're missing, you can use Replit to manage that as well. One thing I want to add to that I like is that once you're done with your project, all you need to do is do one click and you can make it public and shareable to all your friends, like I always say. So without further ado, all you need to do to sign up is go ahead and click on the link provided over here and sign up for an account. I already have an account, so I'm going to click log in. And once you click that link and make an account, you should be directed to that GitHub REPL. Awesome. So you should see this page right here, and it should say OpenSea v2 YouTube. What you want to do is just click fork REPL. What this does is essentially clones the current REPL and adds it to your account. All right, so now I should have a REPL myself. Okay, there you go. It's up and loading, and you should be greeted by this long README. And that's because now you guys have the starter Next.js app already set up for you guys. So the cool part is if you go to package.json, you'll see that you don't have to install any packages yourself, right? So you could do this all manually, but because you forked our REPL, all of this is right here. The only thing that you'll need to do is hop over to the shell and just type in the command yarn to install all the packages that are here. And we should be seeing some node modules come up. Boom. So once that's done, we should have all the modules that we need, and we should be able to do a yarn dev. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clear my terminal. You can do that by clicking this trash can right here, and we should be good to go. All right, so let's type in yarn dev to see our project. Cool, and let it compile, and boom. Just like any other IDE, we can load and preview our project right here. So you can see welcome to Next.js. So if you did want to edit what we have so far, I would just go to index, and just to show you guys, it still all works the same. If I go to Next.js here, change this to Clever Programmer, boom, it gets updated and we see welcome to Clever Programmer. So that's the setup for Replit. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on setting up Thirdweb. So we'll be back in this in a second. All right, so as mentioned before, we are going to be using Thirdweb for this project. So go ahead and go to your browser and type in thirdweb.com/cleverprogrammer. So you press enter, and now you're gonna see this screen where it's gonna say connect your wallet. So if you didn't know, we're gonna be using Metamask for this as well. And if you haven't already, I'm gonna show you guys how to set up Metamask, okay? So one of the first things is Metamask works really well with Chrome. So if you're not on a Chrome browser, go ahead and switch to it now and then come back. Cool, you're here? Awesome. So now that you're here, to just get started, you can type in Metamask, Google Chrome extension. All right, you don't have to type in this whole thing. Whatever you type that gets you to this specific page, you should be good to go, right? Because Metamask, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Metamask is a wallet where you can store all your cryptocurrencies. It works really well with Ethereum at the moment. So make sure you have it installed. I already have it installed, and as you can see here, it's gonna ask for a password. So if I type in my password, boom, I'm already logged in. So as you can see, I'm already logged in. And for you guys, you're gonna notice that you're probably going to be on Ethereum mainnet when you first make your Metamask account. This is the main network for Ethereum. So you're gonna be using real Ethereum if you connect to here. So if you look, I click this, I don't have any real Ethereum, so I'm gonna say 0, right? If you're developing on this, you wanna be using their test network, right? So specifically, we're gonna be using Rinkeby. So if you don't see Rinkeby here, what you're gonna need to do is click on this little circle here and scroll to settings, and you're gonna see a tab called advanced. And once you get to advanced, just scroll all the way down to see show test networks. Make sure this is on, and then you should be able to click this drop, right? Hit save, exit out, click this drop down, then you are officially on the Rinkeby testnet. And as you can see, I already have some Ethereum on here. So if you're wondering, all right, Lance, we're on Rinkeby testnet, how can I get started with this wallet and start getting Ethereum? What you can do is copy this link, right? faucets.chain.link/Rinkeby, right? Because like you saw, we're on the Rinkeby testnet, and you want to be sending your wallet for some test Ethereum. So what you can do is make sure your wallet's connected. Usually it asks, so it's C0 or 0x1 is connected. Let's click Metamask. Is that the same one? Yes, it is. So make sure your wallet address is connected. I don't need any test link. I just need ETH. Click I'm not a robot, right? So let's remember how much ETH I have right now, 0.42, right? Let's send request, okay? Waiting for confirmation. Okay, cool, request complete, 0.1 ETH was sent to my account. Because we're on the testnet, you can send yourself an unlimited amount of ETH, and I recommend you do this about like 5 to 7 times, just so you don't have to come back to the faucet later, especially when you're testing, okay? So I'm gonna hit close, and now if I check my balance on my wallet, I have 0.52 ETH now. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do now is do this a couple times, and I'll come back when I have a couple ETH to spend. Okay, so I was able to just do this one more time. It takes a little bit to get ETH, so I'm gonna stop for now, and then if I need more, I'll come back and get some more later. All right, so once that's done, you have Metamask now, you have some Ethereum, you can connect your wallet. So I'm gonna say connect and click the wallet of your choice. And again, we're using Metamask, so cool. You'll get this little notification and basically just sign saying that you're okay with connecting to Thirdweb with Metamask, And now we can get started. And before we move on, I want to talk about Thirdweb just a little bit. And you've seen us use Thirdweb before, but if you weren't there for those videos, Thirdweb is essentially a software that helps you build, manage, and create projects easily. So if you remember our previous videos, we had to create some of our smart contracts ourselves. But with Thirdweb, it does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And I highly recommend this to beginners because look how simple it is to create a smart contract, right? I'm going to show you. You click deploy new contract, and over here you can see a list of pre-built contracts. Like I said, there's a bunch of pre-built contracts. So depending on what you want to do, it's going to help you set it up. So for example, what we're going to be focusing on today is the NFT collection, right? So we're going to be able to create a collection of one-of-one NFTs. For example, if you think of Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make your own collection. Another thing that's important that we want to show off with this build is we're going to be making our very own marketplace, right? With the marketplace, you can set up listings, we can set up auctions to buy and sell your NFTs, and it's going to be directly linked to whatever collections that we create. So these are the two main things that we want to focus on. So let's get started. So I'm going to click the deploy now for NFT collection, and here we can give a name for our collection. So take note of what you see here. So we're making an NFT collection, right? So the image and name is for what's the name of your collection. So what I'm going to call this is, I'm going to be calling this collection, CryptoPunks is a popular NFT collection, and that's what we're going to be modeling it after. So I believe it's written like punks, cool. And then for the image, what we could do is actually get the image from OpenSea. So I'm going to go to OpenSea.io. And one thing I want to mention is you don't have to make this CryptoPunks. I'm using CryptoPunks as an example to model after. Feel free to put your own unique NFTs and use this as your own project. All right, so like I said, let's keep going with this CryptoPunks, cool. And what we could do is right click this and save image as. So I'm gonna click that. And again, what we could do is click the folder that you want to save it on. I'm going to say CryptoPunks collection image, right? Name it whatever you want. I'm going to hit save and let's see what we can do here. So now that I have that saved, go to where it says image, upload file, and just find the path where it is. So it's right here. I click open and bam, that's going to be our image for the collection, right? For the description, you can pretty much copy what they have here. And again, if you're making your own NFT collection, this is your chance to tell me a little bit about what it does. Let's see, what is this symbol for CryptoPunks? Let's see, do they have a symbol? I don't think it matters too much. What I'll do is just abbreviate it. The symbol, you can put whatever you want, and I'll put just CP for CryptoPunks. Everything else is gonna be determined like this, recipient address. Who's gonna get revenue from these assets? It's gonna be me, because I'm creating this collection. Who's gonna get royalties? And royalties are essentially just anytime there's a transaction made on this collection, you should receive a little bit of the cut, right? Or if you want it to be somebody else and not the one who created the collection, you can change that here, okay? Then you can put how much percentage of royalties of each transaction that will give you. I'm just gonna do like 10%. Okay, for platform fees, who's gonna be paying any of the platform fees on this account? You can just say the one who made it. So now this part is important because now you have to define what network/chain you're working on. So if I click select network, let me just X this out, click select network, you can see how we can connect this to Ethereum, right? The main net. This is where all that you see on OpenSea is, right? Like for example, Bored Ape Yacht Club's on there, the actual CryptoPunks is on there. So if you're ready for production, you can use the mainnet. For me, like I said, we're just developing on the test net. So I'm gonna click Rinkeby and I'll just hit deploy now. Cool, so Metamask is gonna pop up and then it's gonna say deploy proxy, cool. This is how much ETH it's gonna cost. And since we're on a test net, it's not gonna cost much. You can go ahead and hit confirm. Hey, let's go. So we successfully deployed our smart contract for NFT collection. And now Thirdweb gives you this nice little dashboard where you can mint your new NFTs, right? So let's say I wanna make more of these guys, right? I can just click mint, which I'll show you guys in just a second, but let's take a tour. So for permissions, you can actually add other people onto this collection to help you mint NFTs, determine who create new tokens on this contract, and that's what the symbol was for. You can also transfer tokens on this contract and set all those permissions. Right, in terms of code, right? They updated their documentation here. So if you wanted to do any of these things, they show you the code. And if you're coding in Python, they also provide the equivalent there. So for example, I want to transfer a single NFT. We're going to need these snippets of code in our main project. What we can do now is let me show you guys how to mint more NFTs into your collection. Okay, cool. So setting up that collection was super easy. let me just show you how easy it is to now mint unique one-of-one NFTs. So to add to this collection, you're gonna see this beautiful mint button. Let's go ahead and click it. And here, same as before, we just have to fill out this form that Thirdweb provides us. So let's say I wanna make an NFT. And again, we're modeling CryptoPunks. So let's click this first guy. This is CryptoPunk number 2025. So let's copy this, go to dashboard, and just paste that as the name, right? For media, what we have to do is right click this guy, save image. And again, I'm just gonna save it all in my folder, CryptoPunks, save, and let's say same name. Let's see if it saves. Awesome. So with that saved, we can upload the file, and there it is. So for the description, you can give it any description you want. I don't believe they have a description. Let me just see. Just created by. All right, that's fine. Let's copy that. And for traits, right, this is the cool thing. It's so easy to give your NFTs traits than to setting it up manually on your own. You can just say, give it traits like mohawk, dark, right? 2 attributes, small shades, right? So we'll just give this one small shades. Oh, cool. Oh, actually, no, it should be the other way around. It should be, the property is accessory, and I'll say small shades because that's the accessory it has. It also has other accessories like mohawk, dark, type, male. All right, just for fun, I'll just do a type, and we'll do, I don't believe this has to be all capital, so let me just make it lowercase. Accessory and type. All right, cool. I feel a lot better about that. Again, you can add as much properties as you want depending on how unique you want your NFT to be. But once it's done, you can mint the NFT. And just really quickly, you can give it advanced metadata like a background color or just an external URL. So let's click mint NFT. There's now the little message here is mint 2. You're gonna see the estimated gas fees. Let's go ahead and hit confirm. Okay, there you go. NFT minted successfully. And let's see if it'll show up if I hit refresh. It does take a couple seconds because we're working on the testnet. Oh, there it is. There it is, CryptoPunk number 2025. This is the description, and here are the properties. And notice that it's in an array of objects. Cool, and you can also see who it's owned by, and then you can transfer this to other wallets. So say like I made this NFT and I wanted to give it to somebody off the bat, just put in their wallet address here and just hit transfer. All right, there's also the option to burn it if you don't need it anymore, if you don't want it. So there you go, that's how you create an NFT. All right, so what I'm gonna do is create just a couple more, maybe like 2 or 3 more. So when we make the front end of our app, you should be able to see a couple different ones. Okay, so let's do that together. Let's add basically this row. So I'm just gonna do this guy. Wow, this one's worth 20.24 ETH. It's literally no joke. Okay, cool, I'm gonna hit copy. Same process, guys. We're just gonna paste this name. Let's also save the image while we're here. This is the one before it, apparently 2024. Go. And I believe this is all the same. That's the description of this one. And just for fun, let's give it a traits. Accessory goat. I love it. Accessory. Oh, this is a cool thing. Because we used the accessory trait before in our collection, Thirdweb understands that we can just use that again. So click accessory. And again, it doesn't have small shades, has nerd glasses, but I like the goat attribute. So I'm just gonna say goat. And we also have type, right? It recognizes type, which is pretty cool, and mail. So I'm gonna click mint NFT, Metamask shows up, then we hit confirm, and just repeat that 2 or 3 more times. And bam, how sick is that? Now we have 2 NFTs for our CryptoPunk collection, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make the rest of them. Awesome, so we have this person, and it's gonna be 2023, the one to save this, upload file. This is 2023. It looks like we're going backwards. And description, it's the created by. Okay, accessory. What do they have as accessory? Green eye shade. Let's do messy hair. Or actually mole. That's an interesting one. Add row. And yes, this is the first female one. Let's do female. There we go. And just simply mint NFT once again. Now, one thing I want to mention while this is loading, it's not only images you can upload for as media, you can also do audio, video, HTML. If you are familiar with CryptoPunks at all, not CryptoPunks, if you're familiar with Neo Tokyo at all, that's just literally code as the NFT, which you will own if you purchase it. You're not really just limited to just pictures or PNGs. Cool, so that's another one. And while that's loading, we can go ahead and set up the last one I'll do, which will be, oh, this is different. CryptoPunk 2046. Okay, there we go. Oops, we don't have an image just yet. Save image as, okie dokie. Upload file, 2046. We need that created by clown eyes. Now that one's a unique one. So accessory, yes, is clown eyes. Blue. Okay. Then we add row. And again, type female. It recognizes type next, and we can put female and mint. Yeah, and if you remember in our old videos, Thirdweb looked a lot different. That's because they updated it and basically revamped their code as well as their dashboard to give you a lot more features and make this whole process a lot more streamlined. So with that, we have officially 4 NFTs in our collection. And as you can see, what the process for this is we'll make the collection, we set up the marketplace, and essentially pull all that information from Thirdweb to our application. All right, so that's it for minting NFTs. All right, so let's say you want to make an NFT marketplace that hosts your NFT collections, right? So all you have to do is come back to the dashboard and click deploy new contract, right? And there's our CryptoPunks collection. Click deploy new contract, and let's scroll down to the bottom and click this one that says your very own marketplace. And again, if you're curious about more things that you could do that I haven't gone over, you can click this learn more button and you can find out a lot more about this under documentation. Cool, so let's go ahead and deploy now, and let's create that marketplace. So here we can call it OpenSea clone, right? Because that's where we're getting it from. Yep, OpenSea clone. And for the image, I just have this CP logo here that we could use, and you can just put anything for description, right? This is an OpenSea clone. Awesome, and here's the platform fees again, don't need to worry about that. We can go ahead and put this on the Rinkeby testnet because that's where our other collections are. So I'm gonna hit deploy now. Nice, there is our Metamask notification asking us to sign. I'm gonna hit confirm because it's okay. And boom, successfully deployed contract. So now again, similar kind of dashboard. We have the overview, permissions, embed code, right? So what we want to do is list the NFTs we want to showcase on that marketplace. What that means is if we go to OpenSea, right? If we go to, again, like CryptoPunks, I think I was just there actually. Awesome. But yeah, so all the CryptoPunks over here are the ones that are listed. We want to do something similar and tell Thirdweb that, hey, these are the NFTs that I want to make available to purchase. So if I click new listing here, you're going to see this load, and look at that, all of our NFTs that we ever made. And if you see these, this is from our Tinder clone that we've made a while back. So again, ignore those. What you really care about is these, right? So let's go ahead and make 224 available, right? And here the listing type, we can put direct, and direct, it means you can go directly to the buyer who, if they buy it. Auction means you can put it up for bid and people can bid on it, and obviously the biggest bid wins. But we're only going to showcase direct right now. For the currency, this is all the ones that it supports. We can say ETH, and listing price, we can say 1 or actually 0.002 ETH or 1 ETH. Okay, pretty cheap, but again, this is on the testnet and I only have so much Ethereum to work with. You can make this price whatever you want. So just for fun, I'll just do this 0.01. So let's create the listing. Let's hit confirm. Okay, I'll hit confirm. Okay, successfully created listing, as you can see. And again, it just takes a second to show up. And there it is, CryptoPunk 2024, and it's on our NFT marketplace called OpenSea clone. So there it is. All I have to do now is put the rest of our NFTs on the marketplace. So keep in mind, this is not just for the collection. As you can see, I could put our Tinder NFTs up here as a listing. It's not exclusive to one collection. So I'm gonna do the second one, 2025, listing price 0.01 as well. You know, let's make it different. Let's make it, this one's slightly more expensive, 0.05 ETH. I'm gonna hit confirm. And one cool thing is you can use your own custom currency, right? So if you want to use tokens to buy it, we can set that up. Awesome, another successfully created listing. And notice how we didn't have to write any Solidity at all, or any smart contracts for that matter. Thirdweb manages this and helps out with their pre-built contract. Okay, and while the other ones are loading, I'm gonna set up the rest of them. Let's do this CryptoPunk. This one will be cost 0 ETH, which might be confusing actually. So I see we denied the crust. Listing price 0.03. Great listing. The third one is created. We have one more. It's this one, the 2023 one. And this will be probably our most expensive one. It's gonna be 0.09. Okay, that was the last one. And once it loads, that's gonna be all the setup for Thirdweb. We don't need to come back here unless you wanna add more NFTs to your collection or add another collection. So like I said, I hope this was pretty simple for you guys. Again, this is what I recommend if you're just getting started. For my beginners out there and for my more advanced developers out there, you can do a lot more customizations with the code if you're more familiar with it. Cool, so let's get to the rest of the project. Awesome. So after that's all said and done, we should be finished when it comes to the Thirdweb dashboard side of things. If I ever did want to make a new NFT for you guys, we can just hop back onto here and just add it. So what I'll do is X out anything we don't need. And luckily, since I saved it, I'll just paste back our Replit project right here. Cool. And if you ever see this binoculars over here, that just means we need to run yarn dev again. Let's do yarn dev. And we're back. See, there's a little welcome message. Welcome to Clever Programmer. So, like I mentioned earlier in the video, we already have package.json here with all the Thirdweb dependencies to get started. All we have to do is come into app and we can just start importing them. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is come at the top here and we can go ahead and import a couple of things from Thirdweb. I'm going to be needing chain ID and Thirdweb provider. All right, I gotta make sure I spell this right. Thirdweb provider. There you go, capital P. Right, we need the provider because we need to wrap our app with this provider so that we can use Thirdweb in our app, right? Chain ID is we got to specify what network we're using. And if you remember, we're using the Rinkeby testnet and pass that along to the, so you're going to see me do that in just a second. We just need to write from at thirdweb-dev/react. Okay, awesome. Let it compile and it should fix itself on that. While it's doing that though, we can wrap this in parentheses. It's telling me impo is not defined, which doesn't make sense because this is import. So maybe just doing a quick refresh is gonna fix that. Awesome. So yeah, you can refresh it through here where it looks like we're good to go. Let's set up the provider now. I'm just gonna say Thirdweb provider, and let's put the component in between that. And I think I'm missing an E. There you go. Awesome. See, no errors. We're good to go. Whoops, didn't mean to click that. Let's hit refresh. Cool. And now we can pass in that chain ID. So what we want to do is hit enter a couple of times. I'll press space twice and let's write this attribute called desired chain ID. And what we want to put in here is the chain that we're importing from Thirdweb. And we can say dot Rinkeby to specify the network. Now to get connected to the network, we're going to need to use something or a specific RPC to get connected to Rinkeby, right? What we're going to be using is something called Infura. Awesome. So as I was saying, in order to get connected to the network, we're going to be needing to set up some sort of RPC node. And to do that yourself would take a lot of work on infrastructure in creating it. Luckily, there is a service that is going to allow us to connect directly to the network. To do that, we're going to be using something called Infura. So head over to this link. I'm going to type in over here. It's going to be infura.io is the main website. And once you head over there, go ahead and create an account with them. And once that's done, let's visit the dashboard. And again, if you aren't familiar with it, we can use Infura to connect to an Ethereum network in seconds, as you can see here, without creating our own RPC node, which is going to save us a lot of time. So to get started, we're going to have to create a new project on here, which is pretty simple. Underneath the product, here is all the things that it supports. So we just want to worry about Ethereum. And for the product name, let's create one with called OpenSea-clone. Oops. And let's hit create. Bam. Okay, cool. So these are the main things. These are the endpoints that we can use to connect to the network. If I were to use this one for our project, we'd be connected directly to the mainnet of Ethereum. We don't want to do that. We're working on the testnet and more specifically this one right here, good old Rinkeby. So what we'd want is that first link. All you need to do is hit copy, right? Come over to not that one, to here. And for the Thirdweb provider, pass in that endpoint. So type in chain RPC, do these double curly brackets, and let's define this chain ID right here. So chain ID.Rinkeby, and then let's put colon, and let's put quotes here and paste in Infura API link right here. Luckily, Infura runs on a free plan, so we have a bunch of calls, so we don't need to worry about running out of API calls with them. So let's go ahead. Oh, we don't even have to hit refresh because there's no errors. And if there's no errors, we're good to go. So that's going to be it for the app. Let's head over to the index and make some progress over there. Awesome. So clicking index now, we can get rid of all of the starter Next.js stuff. So go over to line 66 and 8, highlight all of that and press backspace. All right, as you can see, we will have this right here. And let's also get rid out of styles. We can get rid of image and get rid of head. Okay, cool. Now you'll see styles is not defined. That's okay because we're going to be using Tailwind. One thing that I can fix right off the bat is this div is not going to be called container. I'll call it wrapper, and it's not style, it'll be style. So if you do know Tailwind, we're going to be saying const style here, and this will be the style object where we can define our classes like wrapper. Sounds good? Cool. The main reason we set up the provider is so we can get started with Thirdweb. To get started with Thirdweb, let's import two things from there, and we're going to import, right? Before I get too excited, I'm going to make this smaller and let's increase the size. Now let's import use address, and something called use Metamask. And this is all coming from the Thirdweb-dev/react. Okay, cool. Yep, looks like we're all good. Just to quickly explain, these are two hooks that Thirdweb provides for us to make user authentication a lot simpler. If you don't know what I'm saying right now, with our app, OpenSea, we want users to be able to log in using their MetaMask that we set up. Thirdweb makes it easy by letting us use a hook to do just that. So it's better for me to just show you by writing out a button here that says connect MetaMask. Okay, there's our button. I can click on this. Nothing's gonna happen because we're gonna need to make an onClick. Before I make the onClick though, let's make a variable and let's call it const connect with MetaMask. And that variable is gonna be set equal to the hook that we imported, use MetaMask. Cool. Now let's add onClick. All right, oops, onClick is actually like this. And when we click, we wanna run connect with MetaMask, which essentially just holds a function that lets users authenticate with just this one line of code, really. So let me show you what I mean by hopping over to this link right here, and you're gonna see connect MetaMask. This link right here is the deployed live link of your repo that you can send to your friends, like I always say, and they can see what you've been up to. So for me, there is the connect MetaMask button. If I click on it, it's gonna ask me to connect with MetaMask. I'll say next, connect, boom. So now I'm connected, right? How do you know I'm connected? That's what this second hook is for, use address. So one way to see connected is gonna be, it says connected right here, right on your MetaMask. So just for the example, I'll disconnect or log out, and we'll do it again after implementing this hook. So we could say const address equal to use address. Awesome. And if you want to know what address is, we can simply just console log it right here. So let's console log it, console.log address. Cool. I'll hit refresh over here, and you can see that our console log is telling us that address is undefined. You can even see it over here if this is what you're used to more. I click refresh on the site, I'll click inspect, and I'll say console, and again, undefined. When does that change? It's gonna change when I connect MetaMask to the app. All right, so once I connect one of my wallets, look at that. It's no longer undefined, it's gonna be OX1C. And if you remember what my wallet address is, it actually starts with OX1C. So that tells me that this address variable is going to be undefined until the user is logged in. So we could use that for advantage to authenticate a user. So that's super sick. Look at how much code that wrote just to authenticate a user. Now time to show you how to put it all together. Cool, so that was the hooks. There's one trick that I wanna show you, and I'm gonna have to go over these function-based components right here. So just to review, with React, you can either do things class-based or function-based. This is function-based, and one key thing is that it also just returns something called JSX, which is essentially just HTML that we can write JavaScript in. So with that said, within this same function, we can have another function, right? So I'm gonna say const auth is equal to, right, it's a function. And what this is going to return is the connect MetaMask button. So now we're removing this and putting that in here, okay? Cool. So then what are we returning for home? Well, for home, just for now, it's gonna change. It's going to be a fragment, okay? And then in this fragment, for now, let's just input hello. So let's see what happens. I'll hit refresh here, and we should see hello. Yep, there it is, all right? Even though I have auth here, we're not seeing the connect MetaMask button. That's because I'm not calling the function anywhere, all right? I'm gonna show you a neat trick that you can do with something called a ternary statement, okay? If you don't know what a ternary statement is, it's essentially a true false or a condition that we can check for. So we can do something called conditional rendering with that. So remember address, right? This is gonna be undefined till I logged in. Or in other words, if I say address here, I'm basically using the address as a condition. If address exists, then, right, that's this question mark, I want to load a div here that says we are logged in, okay? If address doesn't exist and it's undefined, which means we're not connected, we should load the auth, okay? Cool, and if I load the auth, what is auth? It's this function right here. And what does this function return? It returns JSX. So that's why we see connect MetaMask here. All right, so if you go into the main page, it said logged in because we are logged in. Let's actually log out now, disconnect. Look at that. The second we disconnected, the connect MetaMask button came. So how do we log into our app? This is very basic. Connect MetaMask, let's click next, let's click connect, and boom, we're logged in. On a very simple way, I just showed you guys how to authenticate a user. Feel free to use this for any project that you have that uses MetaMask. So now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and style our object. what I'm gonna do is say wrapper, and let's add a comma here. And what we want to do for the wrapper is just going to be flex h screen items dash center and a justify dash center, right? We just added flexbox. Let's hit refresh, and we gave it a centered items and justify center. That's why you'll see connect MetaMask is directly in the center right here. So if I refresh the bigger one too, you'll notice that it still has the login button over here. And again, it's really small because it's just like that. But if I were to disconnect, now you'll see the connect MetaMask is in the middle. Yeah, awesome. So then what we could do next is after the on click, let me just format this. What I want to see now is our button have some styling, right? So to give our button styling, let's give this a class name, and you can set it equal to, right, style dot connect wallet button. Okay. Oh, just realized this shouldn't be there. Let's separate. Cool. That makes more sense now. And here's that little arrow that says we're inside this button still. Paste. Boom. I like that better. Cool. And with Tailwind, all we have to do is select that class connect wallet button, and then we could say, I don't know, BG blue, for example, just to show you. Oh, BG blue, and then give it a number. There you go. So now the background is blue. So now you can see that I'm selecting this class and I'm styling it now. All right. So now for the actual styling of this, that's just going to be rounded LG. Border is going to be border black, PX10, and we can say PY5. We can also give this a nice transition, and we'll say transition all, and we'll say hover background black. So stop there for a second. We hover over it, so you could see it turns black. All right, this doesn't make much sense, but I can give you a little preview. We're gonna be adding a light and dark mode to our app. So what I'm gonna do next is pretty much style it as if it was one of the themes, and you'll see that in a second. So if I do hover text white, oops, now it makes a little bit more sense. All right, hover text white. And once we add a dark theme to this, right, I can write something like dark is hover, and then I say background white. So this is, now you can see that it's thinking that the default theme is dark, which is why we're seeing the text turn to white. We can just make sure is if I do red 500 here, you'll see what I mean. There we go, cool. But notice it's funny because if I remove this dark now, it's just gonna be the default, right? There's no theme involved. So once I add the theme, then I'll add the rest of this styling. You with me so far? Awesome. All right. One thing I wanna showcase is this real quick. So let's just run through the demo. Once again, here's our connect MetaMask button, connect our wallet, and we see this rudimentary logged in when we're connected. What I wanna show is if I disconnect, I already have the component that's gonna replace this right here. So if you look in components, you look into home, you look into index, you're gonna see that there's a bunch of code already filled out. The main focus of this is to show up how to make NFTs and mint them and buy and sell them. The front end part of this is only secondary. So that's why we're okay with giving some front end away. If you do wanna learn more about front end, be sure to watch our other builds on that topic. So as you can see, this is all given away. It's pretty much follow the same concept that we've done before with Tailwind. And if you want to know what it does, just mess around and comment it out. But again, main focus is the Web3 stuff. Cool. Like I said, since this component's already made, we can already use it. So to use it, since we're exporting default, we can name that index anything we want. So I'll call it main, and we'll say from .components / home. Home is not a component, it's a folder. And this is cool. If I don't specify, it's just going to take the index. And what I want to happen is, if there is an account connected, load that very same main component. Yep. And if you see this module not found top navbar layout, that's totally normal while you're building with me because top navbar layout doesn't exist yet. Right? That is something we'll make together. I'm not giving that away. I can't make it too easy. So to fix this, I'm just going to hop over to home, index, and let's just comment out top navbar layout. Cool. Okay. And since we took out the comment, we also have to remove it on here. And let's just comment out by doing something like this. Okay. Star / and there's a closing one to this, which will also be, oops, curly bracket / Okie dokie. Let's hit refresh on this guy. Okay. Connect MetaMask button on the preview. That's fine. What I really care about is this OpenSea one. All right. So let's make this guy a little bit bigger. Let's do the split screen style, just like any other IDE. Cool. So let me just inspect element. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Let's hit refresh. Connect MetaMask, totally fine. Let's hit connect, next. Boom. Okay, awesome. You're probably like, whoa, where did all this come from? Like I said, this is part of that home index right here. All of that is set up. It's getting static information. So don't worry, this isn't coming from Thirdweb. It's just a placeholder for now. And again, if you don't see, for me, these images aren't showing up because I need to import those assets. But for you guys, it should already be there once you fork it. So don't worry about that. Okay, so I just quickly paused it to get all the assets. Now all I have to do is just add them in there. There's the ETH logo. There should be a logo. There should be a wrapped ETH logo. And just in case, other side creator as well. Awesome. So now this should show up. Let's refresh it. And bam, there we go. Cool. And if you're wondering why this is white, once we have a theme, that should also fix it. Let's take out this dark right here. Just make a note of that to put it back in there. Actually, let's go ahead and bring that back. And as a temporary fix, this will be fixed once we build out the app more. But for now, what we could do is head over to your globals and let's just make the background black temporarily. Boom, there we go. So that looks a lot more accurate to what we want. Okay, and then also temporarily, what I want to do is let's go press Ctrl F, find text. Anytime it says text, let's just try to make the text white. Text white. Okay, this one is text gray. Let's make it text, text white. Creator name, and then we have a blue one. That can stay blue, but this one right here, let's make it text white. Oh, okay, there's no description container just yet, but when it does come, it'll be fine. Verified should be blue. I think this is description container. That should be white. Actually, no, that could stay gray. Cool. All right, cool. I think I'm okay with this. For now, this is a bit easier to read. Let's find where 10K items is now, because that's what I want to make white as well. Maybe items. So we have image, collection status, listings. Oh, I see now. It's coming from collection stats, that's right. So what we can do is go to files, click collection stats, and now we can go. Looks like these are directly styled. Totally fine. No need to worry about that. Cool. All right, that's enough styling for now. With that being said, that's gonna be the index of our app. Now that that's done, what I wanna do next is start working on seeing the listing of our app, right? The actual functionality, and start integrating what we did in the Thirdweb dashboard over here. So to get started, I'm gonna open up files again, and we're gonna need to see our home that we have set up for you guys. And if you take a look at home and you scroll down, you're gonna notice that there was another thing that was commented out from the beginning, and that was listing is what holds all the NFT cards. It's not the NFT card component itself, but it contains them. So that's what we're gonna be making today. So what I'm gonna do is, if you take a look, listings from listings, right? So that means we should make that component right here. So within home, let's click add a file, and then we're gonna say listings.js. Boom. So now we have listings.js, and all we have to do now is create that function based component. So I can say an arrow function, all right? And it always returns JSX if it's a component. And then from here, let's just get the import set up. So let me just get the divs. Oops, not the fragment. We need actual divs here. I'll just make it like this for now. There we go. And I'll just write the word listing here so we know. Okay, last thing. In order to start using this component, we need to export it. So let's do an export default listings. Cool. So we have the component set up. Let's head back to home and import this guy back in. Now it should work. And now we should get our listing back. Okay, just take this guy out and expected. Oh, cool. So there it is. There's listings, right? It's all the way over there because we don't have any sort of styling for it just yet. So what I'm going to do is go back to listing, and we're going to be working primarily on this component itself. So I'm just going to make the window a lot smaller so that you guys can see. How's that? Okay, cool. Now to get started, let's import some hooks. Okay, so let's import the most common hooks for React, which is going to be use effect and use state. I'm going to do from React. Okay, and we also want to import link from next link. Cool. And here is the key hook that we want to use here. It's going to be something called use marketplace. All right, so you're seeing the pattern. Thirdweb provides for us a bunch of hooks that make working with NFTs and marketplaces a lot more easier if this is a main interest of you guys. So we're going to use marketplace from Thirdweb, and you can kind of assume what use marketplace does. It's going to allow us to get the marketplace we created and add it to our app. Okay, so what we're going to want to do next is set up any hooks. So the first thing I want to do is let's make a variable here. I want to say const marketplace is equal to use marketplace, and let me just show you what a console is. Right, anytime you're not sure what something is, it's pretty smart to just console log it and see what's up. Let's see, something's going on here. Oh, okay, so we're not logged into Metamask. Use marketplace is not defined. Oh, okay, I see. Spelling, capital P, and we have to log back in because it looks like I logged out. Oh, I see. So it's actually not capital P, it should be lowercase, and now we should be good. All right, no errors. Refresh for good luck, and bam, we're backed in. There's no problem with use marketplace. Awesome, but I'm also console logging use marketplace, so let's see if we can see it. And if you see listing here, use marketplace is undefined, right? That's because use marketplace is a hook that's going to take in a contract address. So let's just quickly get our OpenSea clone. This is the name of our marketplace, right? Underneath is the contract address, which is essentially where on the blockchain our contract lives. So what will happen if I pass this in, then I refresh? Let's see what we got. Oh, we got an IA, so that's good. All right, so the fact that we don't have undefined is a good sign because that means this use marketplace is working, right? So in here, we can find all the information that we need, any functions like get all, right, that we might be using. There's one that we're gonna need, get active listings, which we're not seeing just yet, but let me just show you how to use this object. All right, so we know use marketplace is getting this marketplace. What we can do now is make a function called get listings, right? Get listings is a function that I'm creating, right? That's going to grab the marketplace, get the active listings, which is going to be these guys, and store it in state. All right, so before I store it in state, let's set up that function. So again, this is get listings. I'm going to do a try catch, and catch is going to take in an error. And if there is an error, we're going to console.log that error. Okay, and then for the try, let's do const list is equal to await, which means we're going to wait for this function or method to finish before moving on to the next step. Marketplace.get active listings. All right, it's going to be a method within marketplace. Okay, no errors. And then let's see if we can console log list right after. Cool. And we're not actually running the function yet. Do you know why? This is just me creating the instructions, but I haven't told my computer when to run. That's where the use effect is going to come in handy. If you don't know, it's a React hook that lets you perform side effects or functions at any point during the component's lifecycle. Basically, when do you want to run a function? If you want to run a function when the component loads, you can use effect for that. And that's pretty much what I want to do. So let's set up the use effect. To set up the use effect, it's going to look something like this. And as an argument, it's going to take in 2 parameters. So we're going to take in a anonymous function here. That's the first one. And this function is going to represent what do you want to do, or again, like what I said, the side effect. And for the side effect, I'm going to call get listings. Yeah. And if I'm calling get listings, right, I'm going to have a second parameter than use effect, which is this array. This is called a dependency module. Basically, it says when the page first loads, run this and don't run it any other time. Okay. Let's hit refresh here. Let's see what's up. We're not getting any errors, but it looks like it did log me out. So let's just connect again and we're back in business. Let's see inspect element, console logging list. Ooh, we got an array of 4, right? This makes me happy because now I can literally see each asset or each NFT, right? There's 4 NFTs. This 01 is OXA, right? OXA, that's the actual contract address. How do I know? Let's see if I can take a look. Right, this is CryptoPunk 224. Oh, there it is. There's the asset, the actual description of it. So the name is 224. So it matches up 0, 0, 224. So if you see all your NFTs that you minted, this is a great start because the next thing we want to do is start to display them. The thing is though, we're not actually saving them in a state, right? All we're doing is console logging them, right? So like, let's say, you know, it's in list, but if I were to console log list out here, we'd see comma outside. We're gonna see list is not defined. Did you see that? That's because this is local to this function, meaning I can't console log list. So how do we bring it outside and into our app? That's where the other hook comes in, use state. All right, so let's set up our use state. I used to set this up at the very top here. I can say const array is equal to that hook. Okay, now this array here, right? It's not a traditional like array that we're used to. Basically, it's destructuring the array that comes from use state. Use state, if you were to console log use state, is going to show you an array, undefined, and a function, right? You can take those two things out by giving it a placeholder or a name. So I'm going to call that first item in the array listing or listings, and the function I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it set listing. So let me take out this console log so we don't see any more errors, and let me also initialize the state. So remember how I said listings, if I were to console log this is undefined, right? Let me show you listings. And now if I inspect element, should see undefined for listing. Yep, listings undefined. The reason it's undefined is because we didn't do something called initializing our state, which is going to come here. So if I say number 4 here, look at that. Listings has the value of 4. I defined what it's going to start at. But if I were to do set listings, that's how I change the 4 to something else. Maybe I want it to be a 6. I will do set listings parentheses 4. Right? There's a couple of little nuances with use state, but to use it properly, right? I want the use state to be an empty array. Reason being is because the type that I'm expecting this to actually be is an empty array. And when we map through something, it wouldn't cause any errors if the array is empty. Okay, with me so far? Awesome. So now listings is an array. Now how do we set that listing? You can do that by, instead of console logging a list here, what if I use that function that I was talking about, set listings? So now if I do set listings here, if you look, it's no longer an empty array, and it might be confusing, right? Because we were console logging the list, so why don't we just refresh it? We're not console logging list anymore, so we shouldn't see an array from that. We should see an array, right? Because of this line. It was empty, but once we ran our use effect that runs this get listings, now I can call console log listings anywhere in my app. Cool, you get the idea? Awesome, right? So if I did want to put it in my JSX, I could, right? I can map through this and make an NFT card for each NFT. Cool. So that's the functionality. What I'm gonna do next is let's work on the JSX. What I'm going to do next is X out this console because now we have the idea. And to work on the JSX, let's start naming our divs, right? So we don't need this listing anymore. What we do need to get started though is our style object. All right, so we'll come up to the top here, make some space, const style is equal to object. All right, so now when I say style.wrapper or something like that, we're not going to get any errors, which is beautiful. So like I just said, the first div is going to be style.wrapper. Okay, and let's see, style.wrapper. Cool. What I want to do with this wrapper is something like we did before, and it's going to be called conditional rendering, because depending on the condition, I'm going to render different JSX. So basically, if the listings.length is greater than 0, right? If I ask you guys, when is the listings.length 0? Yep, exactly. You got it, Joseph, right? When you look at this array, when it first loads, we had that empty array. So what's the length of that? It's going to be 0. When is the length greater than 0? That's when useEffect runs our function and we load it with our 4 listings. So basically what I'm saying is once we have our listings loaded in, what do we want to do? The question mark is the then. What I want to do is JSX. So temporarily, I'll put a fragment here and I'll say, put listings here. Yeah, just for now, just so you get the idea. But once that's done, I'll close off that parenthesis and then I'll say if listings.length is 0, then we can have this little loading screen. So I'll say div loading. Okay. Oh, and I think I still need this parenthesis here. Wait. Okay, so we still need loading, and let me just fix this parenthesis real quick. Should be a quick fix. It's just an extra parenthesis right here, and bam. Okay, cool. So which one do you think is loaded? Put listings here or loading? And if you said put listings here, you'd be correct. I can see it right there. I can use my pen so I can show you guys. There it is. Put listings here. Right? That's because the listing loaded. But let's see if you guys can spot the loading. Okay, loading. Right there. And then put listings here. That means it's loaded. Cool. So we just have something to load while we get our listings. What I want to do is obviously make this a lot nicer, right? We don't want this text. What I want to do is map through it all, right? So what I can do is put this curly bracket here, and let's do a listings (map). Okay, and then from here to use the map, we need to take in an anonymous function, and now we could get started. Cool. So carrying on, if I want to make the return implied of an arrow function, I actually don't need this curly bracket right here. What I will need though is another parenthesis, right? Just to match up with this one. Cool. So now I can get started. Basically, if you don't know what map is, it's going to iterate through an array, and you can give each item in that array a name. So I could call it item, but really each item is a listing, right? This is just the variable name. And what I'm saying here is for every listing, I'm going to make NFT card component. So let's see if this works out. Say refresh. Oh, it wants me to connect. Loading. NFT card here, NFT card here. Why do I see 4 NFT cards here? That's because there are 4 items in this array. And for every item in the array, I'm making this div, right? The difference now is I want to be making a component instead of a div, right? So to make a component, we're going to have to create that component. So I'm not going to style it yet, but I'm going to quickly set up that component by going into home, clicking it, and adding a new file. The new file is just simply going to be called nftcard.js. Cool. And then we set up the NFT card const, and NFT card is equal to empty array and returns JSX. And you can put a div here that says NFT card component. All right, so we know it's there. And we also need to export default NFT card so that we can import it. Awesome. That's done. Let's head back to the listings and let's import it. All right, and that's pretty much the last. Import NFT card from ./NFT card. Cool. This should just get refreshed. NFT card is not defined. Oh, must have spelled it wrong. Let's see what we got. Yep. There's my camel case. Should be fine now. Yay. Okay, cool. We're good to go. Get back to that listings and we can see NFT card here, but let's try now to write NFT card. Yes, so now it doesn't say NFT card here, it says NFT card component. So now, again, with that same logic, for every listing in the array, we will make NFT card component. So now let's build on this. All right, to build on it, what I want to happen now is let's use that link that we're getting from Next. And in that link, it's going to take in an href. That href is going to have a template literal here. So basically what's going to happen is if I click that NFT card, I should be taken to a page that has that NFT card on itself. So if I were to go to, for example, let's go back to OpenSea actually, OpenSea, search up CryptoPunks. What I want to simulate is if I were to click on an NFT card, we should see the NFT cards page. And that's what the URL that we want to copy here. Right? It's going to be assets, the listings contract address, and then I believe this right here is the listing ID. So we're going to copy that same structure. So if you remember, it's going to be /assets /curly bracket, $ curly bracket, which is a template literal, and it's going to take listing, right? How do we get that listing in the array's contract address? Well, you're going to have to call the object and do something called .notation, which is .asset contract address, which will then return the value at this key, which will be something like this. What is this NFT's contract address? Or in other words, where does this NFT live on the blockchain? Okay, cool. So we have that. We're not done yet though, because there's another slash, and we're gonna write another template literal. And how do we get the ID of the listing? If you remember how we got the listing's contract address, listing has an attribute just called ID. And now we're good. And to get to that link, we're going to need an A tag in between this link right here. So A, this is an anchor tag, right? We don't need to put an href on this because it's taken care of with Next. It's gonna make that page and put that NFT card in there. Cool. All right, so now if I click this, oops, not only do we need an href here, we're also gonna utilize a function that's within map. All right, anytime you map through an array and make a component or generate JSX, it's gonna need a unique key prop. So what we could do is for another parameter in map called index, it doesn't have to be called index, it can be called key, but basically for every listing, it's gonna generate a number, 1, then increment 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna use that to our advantage by saying the next line here, key is equal to index. Okay, that should be it. Now let me just test if it's clickable. Hey, page not found, but let's look at the URL. All right, let's make this bigger. Does it match up to what we want? It's our website /assets, contract address, and 2. All right, that's the ID of the card we clicked. And again, it's gonna say page not found. It's because we didn't make that page yet, so that's totally fine. But we just know that it's set up for that. Okay, amazing. All right, so those are NFT card components. Let's see, is there anything else that I need to do? No? Okay, what I'm gonna do is, I think, it doesn't really matter that much, but I wanna put the key at the top here. Cool, should be the first thing. I'm pretty satisfied with the functionality. I'm just gonna quickly add the styling now, which it's not gonna take much. As you saw, we only made a wrapper div. So that's what I'm gonna write here, wrapper. And the wrapper is gonna have margin auto, and it's gonna take in a grid, max width fit. Then we can give it a flex of 1, followed by a grid column -1. All right, this is us formatting the listing so you can see each NFT card nicely. All right, from there, it's gonna have a gap of 8, p-10, a pt-24, and md grid -columns. And I am using grid to style this listing, but you could use flexbox, or you could use a combination of both. You could still use whatever styling fits you if you're more experienced. And again, this is for beginners. If you don't have experience, feel free to just follow what I write. And in other videos, I'll go more in depth of what the styling does. I'll do grid -columns -3. Oops. And then let's make extra large columns -4. And we could do 2XL grid columns -5. Okay, cool. This should be good unless I spelled anything wrong. But as you can see, look at our NFT card component. It's now in this nice row, right? You can imagine those cards being in there, but look what happens. The way I styled it, it's pretty responsive. If this is the width, it's gonna show all the components in a line. If I make it smaller like this, then it's gonna go back into this kind of column. That's the cool part about grid. So that's what all of this does. And let me just double check, is that everything? I think so. So cool. There you have it, guys. That's the listing component. So we're getting closer and closer to actually displaying the NFT, but we know that the piece of data is here. So let's work on the NFT card next. Okay, so working on the NFT card, one thing I want to do is pass down some props to that NFT card, right? So what do I mean? You can pass down information to components or to a component's child using something called props, right? So if I ask you guys, what is listing, right? You know that listing, right? Let's inspect element. Listing is going to be each individual item in the array. And for each individual item, I will make a unique NFT card. That's why we see 4. But for every NFT card, I want to pass down that listing. Basically pass down this object to the individual NFT, the unique NFT. All right. So if I do something like this, okay, no errors. I just pass down this first NFT to that first NFT card. I just passed down that second NFT to this second NFT card, right? So in theory, if I were to go to the NFT card component, how can I get that listing, right? I can't do console.log listing. I would say something like listing is undefined. Ready? Yeah, listing is not defined. So how do I get it? So you saw me pass down the prop to the NFT card. I then have to, I call accept the prop. So to accept the prop, you just have a props here, and now we can console log. Right, that's what the parameter is for in the function-based component. So I say console log props. Shouldn't have any errors anymore. Wants me to connect, sure. Loading and NFT card component. All right, I'm also gonna just comment out the listings because we get the idea. Let's clear up our console. Okay, cool. Let's do a console. And now we see a lot of objects, right? That's supposed to represent, bam, our props. There it is, right? So there's our listing, and each NFT card is gonna have each, NFT. So there's CryptoPunk 2024 as the first object. Then we have CryptoPunk 2024 again, right? It's just repeating sometimes. Let's see, we shouldn't have all 2024s. Oh, there it is, 2025, finally. There's some duplicates here. If I open up this one, 2025. Yeah, I think it just did it 3 times for each, but it didn't actually generate that, 2046. So you get the idea. It's console logging that NFT card. That's how you get props, but how do I get the actual contract address of each? Or in other words, the information that I need? Well, if you looked at the object, if I do something called props, right, dot listing, right, then it should just be the object. So let me just see, inspect element. Right, we're breaking down this object. Now it's just the asset instead of an object with the listing. But now we want to know, I want to get to the asset. Okay, so I'm props.listing.asset. There we go. So now it looks a lot more clear. This is the asset itself, right? But what if I just want the name? You do .name. So this is practicing dot notation for the new people getting into development. Right? It's not necessarily a blockchain thing. Cool. So now we got all the names, 24, 25, 46, and 23. Right? It always prints it twice for some reason. So if I wanted to display the name, right, instead of saying NFT card component here, what if I just take whatever in the console log? So I know the console log is showing it like 8 times, but if I put this here as the div, look what happens. Look at that. So now we're getting closer and closer to what the final product is supposed to look like, which is CryptoPunk, right? And it's showing all of the names. But what if I wanted the price? Well, you do the same thing, dot price instead of name, or a buyout currency, whatever it is. Although it is going to be annoying if I have to write props dot listing dot blah 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 dot blah, but we can make it shorter by taking advantage of it and doing something called a destructuring. So let's put this back to NFT card component, and let me show you what I mean. So if you remember in listings, we destructured an array by saying const array equals useState, right? We can also destructure objects, right? To destructure objects, put the object here, and then say the key name that you want to pull out. So I'm going to say listing, right? Right, that's this part here. So now you're going to see that props is not defined. First reason is because there is no props object that I'm passing here. But if I were just to remove that whole thing and just say listing.asset.name, all right, then refresh this for good luck. Connect Metamask, loading, boom, there's the NFT card component. And we still get the name without saying prop. So later on when I'm putting everything in its JSX form, right, I don't have to say prop. So let me just show you what that would look like now. Yep. So if I had multiple keys, I would just destructure all of them here. And again, it's all personal preference. But as you can see, there it is. And there's all the names still. Same thing, different way. Many ways to do one thing. I personally like this way. So this is what we're going to do. So I don't need to console log anymore because I think you guys get the idea. Cool. So now that we have props out of the way and you understand it, let's go and work on our imports, which is going to be image from next image. And we can also import AI outline heart from react-icons/AI. Awesome. And while we're here, let's make that style object so we won't get that style undefined error again. Set the skeleton up for it. And now, right, we're gonna write the rest of the JSX. All right, no hardcore functionality here, just good old front end. And I'm not gonna spend too much time explaining it because I wanna get to the functionality. That's what you're here for. You clicked on this video because the blockchain stuff. Cool. So setting up the main div again. Nope. There we go. What I want to do is give this guy a class name. Nope. Class name is equal to style.wrapper. Okay, and then within that div, we have another one. This one is going to be, class name. Keep doing that. Class name equal to style.image container. Okay. And in that div, this is where we're going to make use of that image. And in this image, we want to make a class name of style.nft image. But not only that, we want to say the source of this image is, right, we're going to make use of a listing now. All right, you ready? Listing.asset.image, right? So based on this, what do you think it's going to give us? Right, the actual image itself. And we need to style it or else it's going to be varying in size, but we'll say 340. That's what I have for you. Width is equal to 340 and alt equals to NFT. Cool. So let's click connect MetaMask. Let's see if it works. Fingers crossed. Invalid source prop. Oh, okay, cool. It's because we have to configure our next config, which is totally fine. Okay, so let me just double check. Let's go scroll down here, go to next config, and let's see what we got. Yep, that's why. So if you want to use images, what we're going to have to do is tell our next app, hey, these images at this URL is okay. So you want to say images, domains, and right here, and I have the list that we're going to want to use. All right, it should be all of this. Boom. This Google user content.com and the gateway IPFS cdn.io. So there you go. So now it should be fine. I'm going to head back over to the NFT card page and let's see what happens. And refresh. Okay, connect MetaMask. Fingers crossed. Oh, what? It should be good to go. I'm not sure what's happening. Let me try to reset the server. So what I'll do is hit refresh here on the actual page itself. Yep, then it's going to say can't find REPL. No problem at all. Let's do a yarn div. Let it compile for a second, and once you see that white screen, feel comfortable doing this, and we should refresh this. Okay, connect MetaMask, loading. Okay, let's go. We got pictures, and I like that way better than it's saying NFT card. So for every NFT card, we make that NFT, and it's clickable, and it leads to the page. But again, the page doesn't exist yet, but we're getting so much closer, right? I have a saying where if 9 out of 10 times you're coding, you feel like a dog, but if 1 of the 10 times you feel like a motherfucking G, right, then it's all worth it. So I get excited when things are working or if I fix an error. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to, not pages, to the NFT card, right? Because we're not done yet. As excited as I am, right, I wanna add some more styling to this. Okay, so all we did was just image container, and I'm acting like I won the championship, but that's okay. All right, so we got this image container here. This is the closing div for it, and we can make some space. And what I want to do is make another div. This one, I think it has the name of NFT lower container, right? And it has children of its own that I'll write over here, which is div style.info container or NFT info container. Okay, and we're gonna have a div here. This one isn't gonna have a name, but what it does take though is curly brackets, and then we're gonna say listing.asset.collection. If there is a collection associated with this, then we're gonna do and. If there is a collection associated with this, then we're gonna load this JSX. Okay, div class name, then we'll say equal to style.collection title, right? The collection that the NFT is associated with. Then here we're gonna take in a listing attribute again, or listing key, which is gonna be listing asset question mark dot collection question mark dot name. So if it has if there is an asset, if there is a collection, then just get the name. Okay. Then close the div. Then I'm gonna say div over here after the parenthesis curly bracket and say class name is equal to style.nft title, and this is where we did it before. How do we get the name of each listing? It's listing.asset.name. Cool. And it should lead to a closing div. Closing div. Oh, we lost the connection. Bam. Look at that, CryptoPunk. Oh, cool. I can grab this too. Awesome. So from there, we can say div class name. And this is going to be the price container. So I'll say style.price container, right? Because each NFT should show how much it's worth. Yeah. And div have a class name equal to style.price title. And we'll say by at. Okay. And then as a sibling of that div, this one is going to be called the wrapped ETH image container. Oh, this should be in the code brackets. Style.weth, which stands for wrapped ETH image container, and then image. And just like before, we're going to set it up. You just need to set it up with a height. It's going to be way smaller than the picture because it's just the logo of wrapped ETH height. And source. Oh, our source should do the width, which is going to be the same width. And the source is simply just going to be // wrapped ETH, I believe. Yeah, the WETH logo.svg. Let's hope it's in the right spot. And then for the alt, it should just be WETH. So that's the image tag. After the image tag, though, you can say div and get this one's going to be called price value. Okay, and listing.buyout currency. We need the buyout currency. And if you're wondering how I know this, is because I already looked at the object and I just looked through the properties and was like, oh, that's the attribute I need or the key I need at that value. So that's how you can do it yourself. So again, if this token is there, let's do a display value, which will then have closing div, and the closing div. Right. We're not done yet. At this point, we want to make use of an icon. Right. I think I imported already, but it's this heart, AI outline heart. Right, we're going to be inserting that really soon. Style.likes container. Right. There's no actual functionality to this. It's just front end, and again, not the main focus of this build, but it does enhance and makes our project look very nice. So style.heart icon. Right, so we're giving the React icon some styling as well. And underneath, we could say div, give this one a class name of style.like_counter, right? And there's a fun way we get the amount of likes is we do a likes listing.asset stats.favorites. Pretty cool way. Do question mark 0. Okay, so then it should be closing div, closing div, closing div, closing div, and bam, that is all the JSX. And now let's see how ugly or beautiful, my bad, it is. Using a relevant image. Yep, I figured as much. That's because, let's see where it is in source. I mean in public. ETH logo. Yeah, did something I didn't like. Oh, okay, yeah, it doesn't need a dot here. It should have a leading slash. And let's see if it works. Ooh, connect Metamask. Fingers crossed. Hey, and there it is. There's the image. She looks beautiful, amazing. So what we gotta do last now is give this some styling. Okay, so first thing I want to do to get started with the styling with Tailwind is just wrapper, and then we'll say relative. Give it a flex box property by saying flex. Say height is 450 pixels, and the width of this, each card is going to be 340 pixels. Okay, give it a cursor pointer as well. Now after the cursor pointer, let's give it a flex direction of column. Then we'll say rounded LG. Oh, wrapper is saying wrapper is not defined. Okay, so wrapper is defined. Okay, it's just strange. All right, rounded LG, and we could do background white. Okay, shadow LG. There we go. Starting to see it now. transition all duration -300 hover shadow 2XL and dark. Remember, we have a theme that we change from light to dark, and that's why the CSS might not look consistent, because again, we haven't set up the theme. BG dash hashtag, but it'll all be fixed once I finish this up. So bear with me. 333 333. I think that's all the threes in here. Okie dokie. Cool. Yeah, so it took up that dark property. It didn't take the background white. It thinks it's in dark mode, so it did that. Okie dokie. So after that, let's do image container. An image container, all it needs is a height 34 and an overflow hidden. Pretty much it for image container. Let's reload the page. All right, and I also want to show you too that the grid is still working. Oops, with our app. Yep, there we go. And it still needs, you can see that still needs some spacing in between all that. There we go. So we'll say next is the NFT image itself that we need to style. It's going to be rounded -t -large, and then let's do an object cover. Oh, we're still looking for image. I never realized. Yep, NFT image exists. Then we can do NFT lower container, and lower container is going to have flex property, and it'll be height -1/4 flex direction column, and give it justify between and p-4. So let's check that out. Okay, looks less cut off, which is good. And we got collection title. Okay, and collection title is going to have some small text, and the text will be gray 500 and dark. Like when the theme is dark, the text should be gray 400. Okay, NFT title is going to be text SM. Now let's get the font to bold. Okay, for our price container, it'll be flex property, flex column, items, and right, you can see all everything moving around here. Okay, justify center to center that. Okay, and space -y-1. Cool. Let me just refresh this. Okay, it's still looking a little funky. Price container, price title, text SM for price title. Actually, price, let's do extra small, and let's do font light for price title. Let me take a look at that. Okay, still fitting out the page. See something? Okay, that's interesting. I have a typo somewhere. It's all good. Let me just see the legs container itself. Container. Should be legs container. Yep. There is. And in that legs container, it's going to take a flex property, item center, justify -end, and a space -x-2. And then we'll take in the heart icon. Remember, we have this styling of this React icon. That one will have, oops, an H3 with 3 text gray and be 500. And remember, if the theme is dark, we want the gray to be text 400. Cool. Then we have likes counter. And likes counter is going to have text extra small, text gray 500 again, if it's light, and if it's dark. Cool. So obviously styling is a little strange here, so let me see what I could do about that. Might be typing something wrong. So I'm just going to double check if I missed something. Lower container. All right, yeah, that's there. What about info container? Oh, okay, I see the problem now. I don't have NFT info container. That one is going to have a flex, and this is where we can justify between. Okay, cool. Now it's more aligned. Awesome. And I'm not too happy with the styling just yet because this should be next to each other, and that's the with image container. And let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, that would help. We should get the styling for this. So let me just style that real quickly. Wrapped eth image container. Okay, there you go. All right, and the reason why it's not lined up is because we have to give this a flex property. Let's do an item center, right? Because now, there we go, that's more like it. Boom, and now the logo is smaller because by default the line items is going to be stretch, but if you do item center, it's not stretch anymore, so that's why it's smaller. Then we can do a justify, and let's give it some spacing of x2. Hey, okay, that's a lot better. And again, the text ideally should be white, but that is just a theme thing that we'll fix at the end. But other than that, this should be the styling of it. So it's not perfect, it's not super responsive, but if you put some space here, this is what the demo looks like. Awesome. There we go. Okay, it's coming together. We have the NFT cards in place, and I think that's it for the NFT card. Cool. So what I'm going to do next is head over to pages and go into the app once again. And I'm sick of not having the theme, so let's just get the theme provider in there. So let's import theme provider, and this is going to help us switch from light mode to dark mode. And the really cool part is that it comes in next theme. Okay. Next thing you want to do is take that theme provider and wrap that around our app as well. Hit enter here, the theme provider. Boom, and let's put that component and wrap it inside that. Okay, cool. Let's see if that gave us any issues. Reading some. Oh, that's why my terminal has died. Let me bring it back in here. Let's do a yarn dev. Okay, and once we see it loading, that's a good sign. We can refresh this page and no errors. Yes, okay, so the theme provider is successfully wrapped within our app. And one thing I could do is test something out. Now that the theme provider is there, I don't have to worry about that background being white or black. I can just remove this. Awesome, cool. It should just take what the system is, what my system is. So for example, if I go to the header which was provided, let me see, there's something called use theme, right? And use theme comes from next themes, the same place where the provider came from. And essentially, what I have set up here is the current theme is going to equal the theme, right, from theme provider. And it's going to be, if it's equal to the system, then we're just going to use whatever the system theme is. System theme is whatever I have set up, if I'm on dark mode or not. Else, we're going to just check what the theme is if it doesn't equal it. Okay, awesome. So again, if the current theme is dark, this is where the header stuff comes in. We're going to see that moon icon. If I click, it turns to light. So very cool on that end. And look at that, the text is now what it's supposed to be, as well as this. So this is a lot easier on the eyes, and that's how we set up the theme provider. Now, heading back to the home folder and going into the index, right, we had another thing in here called top navbar layout. I think it's time we make it. So let's go ahead and make top navbar layout component. And this component is going to come from a folder that we're going to call layouts, right? So we don't have that folder just yet. So we're going to need to basically select and make a new folder, but not in components preferably. I just want to make a new folder. All right, so just click out of that folder and say new folder. And this one we'll call layouts. Cool. So now we have a layouts folder, and inside this layout folder, now we can make top navbar layout.js. Okay, cool. Now we have the top navbar layout.js. Let's make this temporarily small. And then we could say function, or in other words, const top navbar layout. Set this equal to return. And I'll say div top navbar. Yeah. And let's also export default top bar layout. And this is layout. Okay. That's going to be it for now. Let's try to see if we can comment it in our index of home. Is this supposed to be here? I don't think so. Let's X this out. Cool. So I just moved it outside over there. Awesome. What I was saying was I wanted to go into index, and I wanted to uncomment this guy. All right, it's back in. Oh, I see. Let's quickly go out to layouts and let's make this equal to the anonymous function. I think they'll be a lot more happy if I do that. And going back to components, home, index. Cool. So let's work on this. I wanted to wrap the top navbar layout around the home. Okay, awesome. All right, cool. Don't worry if it looks like that for now. We're going to fix up the top navbar layout because we need to style it. So I'm gonna go back to the layout. Let's go ahead and click that and let's get to work. Okay, cool. So if you see this, again, like I said, don't worry. I wanna show you guys what top navbar layout is doing. And we could do this by opening up the main project. So this is the main project. Right now it says doodles here because that was the original, and I'm taking the Thirdweb contract address, and that's why we see this. Same things. So that's it. This is the finished build. And if I were to open up VS Code and let me just remove top navbar layout by commenting it out, comment out the import. If I hit save, look what disappears over here. Boom. So we can tell that the top navbar layout is responsible for holding the header, or at least that top part. So let me just bring it back in, and bam, there it's back in there. Okay, so that tells me top navbar has the header. Okay, cool. So now we can X that out. Let's check if we have a header, right? If you look over here, header is already done for you, as I showed you guys before. So this is one of the stuff that we're giving away. So what we could do is just import that in here. So I'll say import from components slash header slash header. Oops, header. Okay, so it's resolving it. And here's the key here. It's gonna take in children, right? And what I wanna do is call the header here. Let's see if it shows up. That's the real test. Oh, that's right. This needs to be a fragment because it needs a parent div. Nice, okay, cool. We have the OpenSea header set up already. This is just, we gave to you, nothing too special. Mostly just front end until I click on this, and look at that. Boom, right? Awesomeness. Right, so we have light mode and dark mode set up. That functionality was given to you guys. If you want to understand how it works, like I showed you, it's simply an on click on the moon icon, and if we click it, we set theme, right? We're using useState here to light, and if it's light, then that theme provider takes place, right? Remember the CSS that says dark? That's why we set it up, so now it would change. Cool. So definitely, if you understand that, or if you want to study it more, you feel free to take this code and play with it and put it in your own projects. So that is the header and the light and dark mode. But we aren't quite finished yet. One thing I wanted to do was in index, top navbar layout. There's this pretty neat trick here where I pass in children. And what you could do now so that we can see the CryptoPunks and all the stuff that we worked on before is say main here, and then you pass in the children. Oh, not children. And look at that, connect Metamask is on there. All right, I click on this, it's on there. I click on this, and look, my page is up and running. I can hit this, and it switches, right? I think that's because I also messed with the styling, so let's go ahead and continue. Okay, cool. So what we learned is that if I write main here, I pass in and destructure children, I put that children there, we should be able to see our app, and we have a nice header to go along with it, right? It's getting really close to the finished project, but that is top navbar layout. It's getting really close, like I just said, but one thing that we're missing is I can't click on an individual NFT, right? It should lead to a page with just that image, and we should be able to buy it. That's the whole reason you're here. You want to see, how can I make my own NFTs, my own collection, my own marketplace, and how can I go about buying them? So I'm going to show you guys how to set up that page. And one of the first things we will do is go to pages. And what I want to do is make a new file here, or actually a new folder, right? Because with Next.js, you can directly make a page by writing it in here. So I could say something like, let's add file, let's say lance.js. All right, so if I say lance.js here, and then I make this a component, I can say const lance equals arrow function, boom, return div, lance page. So save that. Let's go ahead and go on to here and just add that route. Oh yeah, export default, can't forget about that. And I think it might actually have to be a capital. Oh no, it doesn't have to be. Awesome, so look at that. I just made a brand new page or route that users can go to on my app. So replit.co/lance will take you to the lands page. In just regular React, we'd have to use something called React Router and set up the routes that way. Next.js handles that for you, which is awesome. So again, I'm just going to delete this because we don't need it. So now let's take this, what I just set up to 100, and let's make a dynamic. All right, so if I made a page or a file called Lance, that takes me to /Lance. But if I make a folder now, we're essentially setting up a route for assets. Oops. Oh, what is this? Oh, we're gonna need to do this because it is okay, I see the problem now. So if I make a folder, I can't do the assets / what I want to do right away. I'm gonna just have to make an assets folder. And once I make the assets folder, from there, I have an assets route. I should have it at least. So let me just double check to make sure. Yeah, there's no page found for this. But I'm essentially setting up a route here. Remember, if we click on a NFT card, right, where the route that it takes us is /assets / that NFT's contract address, right? So to emulate that or set up that route, right, inside this assets folder, I'm gonna need to make another folder, right? But the folder is going to be called brackets address. This is how we make it dynamic. Cool. So bracket address. But if you look, there's one more thing it takes. The 0 here is the token ID. So within that folder, there we can have a file, and that file is going to be token ID.js. And if I were to type that route right now, it wouldn't work because again, token ID.js isn't set up. So again, same way I got the Lance page working, we can just set up a function-based component here. We can say const NFT because everything in this page is about the one singular NFT. So I can just call it const NFT and make sure you return a div. So I'll just make a div for now and we'll say NFT page. And then we want to export default NFT. So with that, hey, there we go. We got NFT page, right? We made a dynamic route. So when I go to click on that NFT that I did before, that first one, you can see that at that route, the URL is dynamic. It's going to show that NFT's contract address and its ID. And if I were to go back and click this guy, 2025, it still takes me to the NFT page, even though, right, the URL at the top is different. They all lead to the same thing. So we have a dynamic route, but now instead of a static page, we need a dynamic page. So that's what we're going to be working on next. Okay, cool. All right, so the goal to make this static NFT page dynamic is we got to set up the individual NFT details and essentially get them on this page. So to do that, let's set up a couple imports actually. So the things that I want to import are React hooks. These ones use state, use effect. You guys are pros at this now, React. And we can import another hook, right, called use router. This one's coming from Next, so Next router. What I plan to do with use router is, you see how this already has the contract address and the ID. We can basically get the ID or address from the route and use that to get that listing. It's kind of interesting way, or kind of smart way, I'd say, to get the NFT that we clicked. Okay, cool. So that's going to be explained later, but we also need to get import use address and use marketplace, right? So this should look familiar, right? We're going to probably make another get listing function. So this comes from Thirdweb -dev/React. Okay, cool. And another thing that we're going to need is something called big number from ethers, right? There's something that we want to format using big number so that we can read it a lot better in our code. And we're going to get that from ethers. Cool. So we should have ethers because it comes with the forkable REPL that you guys did. So we should be good to go. Awesome. Another thing we'll need is top navbar layout, I guess. Top navbar layout, because we should still see that header at the top, right? So to get to that route, it's actually, you have to cd out of this folder, which will take us to address, which will take us to assets, which will take us to the main thing. And then we go to layouts and get top navbar layout. Oh, .js. Let's see if that's it. Is happy with that? Am I missing something? Top navbar layout from top navbar layout. Okay, maybe I went one. Oh, it's layout. Okay, cool. I was just missing the S because the folder was called layouts. That makes sense. Cool. And what I could do is wrap this whole thing and make top navbar layout the parent div. Okay, top bar layout. And you can take a guess what this is going to do. And boom, we have a header now for each NFT page, right? So I guess the flow would be something like this. I go back here, I click on this first NFT, and we still should have the header. And that makes sense, okay? I think the next smart thing to do now is let's create the skeleton of our JSX, where we're gonna need to make a bunch of components that make up the NFT details, such as an image or the info and the sales info. So I'm just gonna lay out the skeleton now, all right? So to help me plan out what we should do next, or for you guys to visualize, all right? So let's make the JSX. And again, if I'm making JSX, I forgot, we're gonna need to make our style object. So const style equals object. Okay, so the very first child of top navbar layout should be class name, yes, style.wrapper. Yep, you got it, Hassam. Okay, now for loading, right, we're gonna say div loading. Okay, expected. Oh yeah. So this is a ternary statement. I'm getting an error because I only made the if there is loading, right, then we load this. If there isn't something called loading, then what I want to do is load something else, the NFT image itself. So let's quickly set that up, just dummy data for now. NFT info. So now the issue is that loading is not defined, right? Yeah, loading is basically just a state that I have at the top here. So let's set it up by saying const loading is set loading is equal to use state, right? So the default of loading, I want it to be false. All right, so look how it shows NFT info. Like why do you think it shows NFT info? That's because if loading is false, right, load NFT info. If loading is true, that means we are loading something, set it to true. Right, reason for that is because it takes a while for us to grab the information and then put it there. So you don't want people to see a blank page. You want to let them know that there's loading. So again, if you want to make it more fancy and build on top of this, instead of just a div that says loading, you can add like a little loading screen, which you've done before. Okay, cool. So let's split this back to false because that's what I want. So now that you get the idea of what I'm doing here, some more conditional rendering with a ternary. What I want to do next is flesh out the NFT info, right? Because it's more than just that. So let's take out this, give this a class name of style.nft container, because this, what I want to load if we're not loading, right, is gonna be the div that holds the NFT. Okay, where is the curly bracket for this? Okay, cool, awesome. Now there's some details on the left of the container inside, so let's make a div just for that. That's style.left container. Okay, and then in that left container, we want the element that's in there. Div class name style.left. Okay, and within that div, we have our very first component. And it doesn't exist yet, so let me comment it out. So it's going to be something like this. Okay, and this component doesn't exist yet, but it's going to be NFT image. All right, so inside that container, we'll hold the image of the NFT that I clicked, which should be the first one based on this. Cool, so let's set the skeleton up. Okay, cool. So next, I'm gonna come below right here and let's set up another div. So if that's the NFT image, this one is also a left element here. And inside this left element, we'll have another component, but this is not NFT image. This is NFT details. All right, another component that we'll have to make later, but you get the idea as I flesh it out. Okay, so closing div. Let's have the right container set up now. So if you have a left container, usually that means we have a right one. So let's style this and call it right container. Okay, cool. I don't know why it's like that. Maybe if I do this, it looks a lot nicer. Nice. So in that right container, another component goes in here, and this one is NFT basic info. Okay, another component, and a sibling inside that same div. It should be in line. I don't know why it's not. Is going to be another one, which is going to be where we can buy out that NFT. So we're getting close to that buying function now. We just got to set up a page for it. Long name, I guess. And inside that buyout container, we'll have another NFT, which is going to be NFT sales info. Okay, cool. So after sales info, that closes. Then we got closing div, closing div. How did I get here? Take me back to the assets. Sorry. Okay, cool. Boom. Awesome. So yeah, this one is closed. Then we have closing div, closing div, closing div, and then this should end that JSX, the JavaScript inside the JSX. Then we should have div, then top navbar layout. Awesome. Cool. So let's see, where is this error coming from? It should be style. Expected but got style. Oh, it's the bio container. Oh, there should be an equals here. Module build failed. Hit refresh. Hey, okay, cool. If you see nothing, that makes sense because none of the components are made. What I'll do is set up the image and the NFT details next. Now I want to set up the NFT details, and that's gonna be its own folder. Under components, we have a header folder, a home folder. Let's go ahead and make a new one. NFT. Okay, and then within that folder, we're gonna make the components from top down. So the first thing will be NFT image. Okay, so let's add a file. Then I'll call this NFT image.js. Cool. So now that we're here, make that smaller. And let's start some imports. Let's get image from next image. We will also get a React icon from here. AI outline heart. And from there we do React-icons/AI. Boom. So all those components are there. Set up the style object. And let's also create the component. So let's say const NFT image. Okay, and we'll say return, and we'll make that first div. Image goes here. Okay, cool. So we have that component all set up. Now what I want to do is head over back to layouts, not layouts, sorry, into our assets, token address, and we can comment this guy out. So let's take this here. And what we could do now is import NFT image. So NFT image from the path is really long again. Components. All right, so now we're at the components folder. So we need to get into NFT details, and then we can get to the NFT image. Okay, let's see if it pops up. Oh, my server might have died. Let me just restart it. Because I was AFK. Okay, let me just hit refresh on this. Type is invalid. Ah, okay. I do know one thing that I did forget. I always forget. This one right here needs to be export default NFT. Hey, okay, image goes here. All right, so now our NFT image is all set up. Cool. Okay, I just want to talk about how that this NFT image should hold, the assets that I click's image. So to do that, we're gonna have to pass it down. So we need to head back into that file and just temporarily in NFT image, let's pass down a prop. And you guys know how to pass down a prop now. It's gonna be image is going to be what? What contains that image? It should be listing, which I believe we should have access to. Oh, we don't. Okay, cool. So that means we have to do that next. Okay, so before I could have so much fun and get the listing, we're gonna need to set up a function. So remember, use address and use marketplace. We're gonna use that to make the get listing function again. Okay, then we do a try catch in there, just like before. The only difference that you may notice is that when we are getting the listing and we're waiting for it to happen, we'll set loading to true. All right, so we'll see that loading screen happen. And while it's loading, we can have const listing, right? Await marketplace, not dot marketplace, await space marketplace. And marketplace is holding should hold the use marketplace, which actually you need to set up. So const marketplace is equal to use marketplace, and it should have the address. So let's copy that over. Then we'll do const address. set that equal to use address. Cool, kind of similar to before. So now marketplace should exist and we can get listing. So if you remember the last time we used get listing, we passed in this contract address, but that's the whole marketplace, right? We don't want to do that. We just want to get the singular NFT. To get that, we're going to need the token ID. So if we go over here, the token ID of this first one is going to be 0. And that makes sense. But we can't just pass in 0 here. We got to get the direct token ID. We're going to make it dynamic. Otherwise, every single time, we're just getting the 0th one. Right, to get it dynamic, that's where use router comes along. Okay, so let's go head over to my states here. And just to clean this up a bit, we can put all these variables within the NFT underneath the state. Okay, oh, and while we're here, let's finish this up. Console log error. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if you were able to pick it up from the mic, but there was somebody mowing their lawn next door. But where was I? So we have this get listing async error. All I'm gonna do is just hit refresh. Okay, cool. So left-hand side expression must be a variable or a property access. All right. So let's just take a look. Const get listing. Just take out all of this and say, how about that? Oh, yep, I did the same thing as before. Lowercase b and use marketplace. Lowercase b. That always gets me. Awesome. So this is good. Let's have async here. How do you like that? Nice. Okay. No more issues with that. Let's go back to making the function. So I think I'll paste, oops. I'll paste the rest of this here and hit erase there. Cool. So all I did was just put back the try catch. Return statement is not allowed here. Or return statement. Oh, okay. I have an extra curly bracket. That might have been the error from before. And let's just refresh. Cool. There we go. So now we have the get listing function. It does what it did last time, set loading to true, which is different. And then I was saying how this marketplace get listing, we want to pass the ID. How do we get that ID? Like I said, use the router. So now what I want to do is go to under address, or actually no, it doesn't really matter where, but I want to put this underneath the other hooks. Let's say const router equals to use router. Okay, and now that we have router here, we want to query this right here and get the token ID. All right, and that's what this dynamic essentially placeholder is representing. So let's see if we can get it. Let's say const, we called it token ID, both capital, is equal to router dot query. Okay, and let's console log that token ID now. Console.log token ID, inspect element. You're gonna have a lot of console logs. Hey, there we go. So if I refresh just for fun, boom, undefined, right? It's undefined until the page loads. We grab the token ID. The token ID is 0. So that's how we can use our URL here and query it so that we can pull our information. That way I don't have to pass down every little thing. I can just make use of our dynamic route. Cool. And I won't have to hard code 0 onto here either. So what we need to do next is, remember that big number thing? We're gonna use that in the market. So all I'm gonna say inside get listing is big number dot from token ID. Okay, cool. And once that's done, we will set the listing to be whatever we get back from this. So set listing to listing. And we also want to set loading to false. Okay. And again, is this function running or not? If I ask you guys, what do you think? Yes or no? No. I just made the instructions. If I want it to run, I'm going to start using the use effect to run it when the page loads. All right, so let's use the use effect. I'll say use effect here. It takes 2 parameters. The function that you want to perform, and also the dependency module, which I only wanted to run once. So we leave the dependency module empty. Then we can say get listing here. And over here, let's console log listing. Okay. Listing is not defined. That's right. We need to make the state for it. So let's set the state. So that function actually isn't doing anything. Let's do const listing and set listing. Okay, now we are all up to speed. And the default should be just empty. It can be undefined because we're not expecting an array on this time. So let's see the console. Yes, there we go. All right, so if I hit refresh here, let's run get listing. Let me just see if this is running. Console.log. Oh, okay, it's running. Okay, running, and now we got it, right? So when I console log listing, this is it. This right here is the object of our asset. So when I say listing.asset, we get this object. If I say listing.asset.name, it will give me the name of that CryptoPunk. So yeah, I know this is running now, so we'll erase that. We can also get rid of the console log listing. And let's see what else we could do here. I do want to add one more use effect. Okay. And this use effect is going to have if there is no address, right? If there's no address, then we want to do a router dot replace and take us back to home. And this is going to check every time the address changes. All right, so I think it took us back to home right now. So that's fine. Connect Metamask. Also, I can turn this to a one-liner because there's not much code in this. So if I do that, you can have a one-lined if statement. I don't need to put the curly brackets. Cool. Let's click CryptoPunk 225. Address is not defined. Should be. Oh, address with three S's. Okay, connect Metamask. Let's see. Nice. Cool. So if the address changes, we'll just get sent back to the main page, and we'll probably have to click the connect Metamask button again. Amazing. Okay, cool. So now we got index 1 as we saw in the console because I clicked that asset at index 1. Okay. What we could do next, let's see, NFT image is set up. I think that should be fine. What I want to do next is make sure we're passing it to NFT image, right? We can say image is equal to, right? What is the variable? Listing. Listing, question mark if that's there, asset if it has one, dot image. Cool. So we pass that down as a prop. Guys, if you remember earlier, how do we accept that prop and see it in the console? Exactly. We're going to go back to NFT details, NFT image. We will then accept the prop. So we can destructure it and get the key, which is image. Then let's console log the image. So let's see and hope for the best. We should see the image for the first one. We might not be able to tell it's the right one. The gateway IPFS. Oops, looks like I downloaded it. But we'll open it in photos, I guess. Okay, it doesn't support it, right? So that didn't work. But there is an easy way to see this, right? Since we uploaded the image, we can just quickly put that in here. Temporarily. Say src equals image. Will it load? Oh yeah, it's gonna need an alt property. I know. Alt equals NFT. Image is missing source property. So what do you call this then? Very strange. Oh, okay. I guess it's because the image doesn't load right away. So let me just try to wrap this in curly brackets. I'm gonna say if there is an image, then we should load it. Yeah? Oh, connect to Metamask. CryptoPunk 246. Okay. Image with source. Must use with height. Okay, that's fine. That's better than seeing that there's no source property. So I'll just give it the height that I wanted to give it, which is 448, and height of the same size. Are we good now? Connect Metamask, fine. And take me to the NFT. Yes, okay, cool. So we saw that I click on the NFT, I clicked on this one, and I got that image at the dynamic URL, right? Just to prove that it's not static and I'm not lying. Let's click on this one, 223. Hey, there we go. So this is the basic idea. What we want to do now is flesh out the JSX to what it's supposed to be. So the first thing I'll do is cut this out because we are going to use it later, but not right now. So I'm going to say class name style.wrapper. Okay, we got the wrapper, and now we can do class name, or NFT header to be exact. Here we can have an image, an image. This is just gonna hold the ETH logo. So we'll give it a height, we'll say 20, and a width with the same length. Okay, and then the source, like I said, it's the ETH logo. So let's do /ETH dash logo.svg. And then we got kicked out, it's okay. I'll say ETH for the alt. Okay, that's pretty good for me. Closing image tag and then the div. So let me just get us back in there. Okay, connect to Metamask. Let's click the first one. Cool, there's the ETH logo. I'm pretty happy with that. Then another div. Okay, this one will be called style.likesCounter or container, sorry. Okay, and then in between, I want to have the AI outline heart. Yep, we imported that just to double check. Then we want class name is equal to style.heart icon. Okay, and the sibling for that will be div with the class name of this one is going to be likes count. This is what I was thinking of. Oh, and this one should be wrapped in curly brackets. Okay, style.likes count. All right, this one will be hard coded, but if you guys want, you can always add your own like functionality and then make this dynamic. AI outline heat. There you go, heart. Kicked out. Boom. Okay, nice. The ETH heart 200. Okay, then we have closing div here. Let's stick those two together, but in between that one, right, I want another div, and this is where our image is going to go. So luckily I should have it pasted still. Yep. Hit tab. So if there's an image, right, if that exists and it's already loaded, then load the image itself. So there we go. It's beautiful. That's our NFT page. Awesome. Okay, now for some of the styling, we got our boy wrapper once again, and he's just gonna be rounded LG. I'll put a comma here. Give him a border, and now this dark thing should start working. Border transparent, and also a dark BG dash hashtag 313339. Cool. Okay. Yep, we're in dark mode, so that makes sense why we see it. Then we do NFT header. This should have flex as a property. I want to give it an item center, and then a justify between. Okay, and we can do p-4. Cool. Spread that out a bit. Let's work on the likes container. Next, likes container. That one will be flex, items center, justify, and space dash x dash 2. Likes container is not defined. What do you call this? It's fine. Okay, cool. We're Gucci. Let's do a heart icon, and we'll do height of 5, width of 5, text dash gray dash 500, and a dark text gray, and it should be 400, like we always did, like we did before. That's the heart icon. We can do likes count next, and likes count is just gonna have the text that is small. Make it like semi-bold, so we do font semi-bold here. Do text gray 500, and guess what happens if it's dark? It's gonna be text gray 400. Okay, cool. Okay, and I know you can't see it, but once we start giving the container some color, it will start to show up. Oh, hold on. This is the VS Code. We need this one. Okay, cool. So now we have NFT image. This will be rounded BG. Oh, sorry, rounded dash B, I mean. Large and then object cover. Okay, so that's gonna be it for the NFT image for now. Let's work on the NFT info and then we can do the buy functionality. Okay, don't worry about the styling just yet. It's all gonna come together once we make all the NFT details components. What I care about right now is showing you guys how to buy NFTs. So to buy the NFTs that we've created, we're gonna have to hop back into the assets page. So where is pages, assets, and we are back. Amazing. So just to recap real quick, we made NFT image. The next thing I want to make is NFT sales info because this is what contains the functionality. So the first thing we'll have to do is create a function on here that we can pass down. So we have const get listing, but now we need to make the function to actually purchase the NFT. So it's const buy NFT and the same deal, async. Okay. And when we buy NFT, we should have a try catch block. And as a quick note, for buy NFT, we're going to be using the Thirdweb use marketplace hook once again. And I know a lot of Thirdweb makes it a lot easier for developers to get started with coding, but Thirdweb is going to have and does have a lot more features that we could implement if you wanted to take the scale even higher. So I did mention an auction, you can do a wait list, you can do a delayed reveal. So those are some features that we're going to be messing around with and you can look more into on the Thirdweb's documentation. Without further ado, let's just console log the error. Okay. And then from here in the buy NFT, let's go ahead and await marketplace again, right? Marketplace is the variable with the hook dot buy out listing, right? This is a method which is going to let us buy, right, the listing with that token ID, right? And then how many do you want them to be able to buy? We'll just say pass in 1. Cool. So this is our function, and again, it's not running just yet. What I want to do next is comment out sales info, and you're going to see it doesn't exist, and they're right. We also need to make that component then. So under components, NFT details, let's add a file, NFT sales info, I believe. NFT sales info.js. Okie dokie. Now we can say const NFT sales info equal to a function. Then we'll say return sales info. Okay. I won't forget it this time. We're going to export default NFT sales info. And right back into our pages, let's go ahead and import NFT sales info. So NFT sales info from // components. I know it's really long. Components / NFT sales info. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. Module can't find NFT sales info. Interesting. Pretty sure I did export default. Module not found. Oh, the folder went out of there. Okay, cool. For some reason NFT card is in here. Wait, no, NFT card should be in there. Let's expand this. Okay, so that's the same. Okay, then what's the issue here? Oh, okay, I see now. It's /components /NFT details, right? There's another folder in that path. Oh yeah, and we can't just return sales info. Gotta put that in a div. Text content does not match HTML. Okay, sales info. All right, we're good to go. So with sales info, we can hop back to our index. Sorry, not index, pages on the assets. And we want to pass down 2 things. The first thing we want to pass down, it needs to know how much does this NFT cost. So to do that, I'm going to say price is going to be listing, because that holds the information, dot buy out currency value per token. And then we also want buy NFT to equal the function that we just made, buy NFT. Awesome. So those props are passed, but you're not going to see it in sales info because now we need to make use of it. Okay, I just jumped back into sales info. And now let's destructure. This is the first time you can destructure more than one thing from an object. So the first one thing I want is price and then the buy NFT function. So just to prove to you, we're getting those props. Let's console log price and buy NFT. See what we get. Let's hit refresh. It might bring us back. Yeah, it should have a price for us. Maybe we'll separate it first, the price. Okay, so it shouldn't be that number. It should be this display value. We're gonna need to update the price, so I'm gonna go back to the component. Yeah, you just have to do one more, and like I said, it's display value. Yep, a lot of jumping around because we need to talk to the different parts of the component. And bam, there we go. That's the actual price that we set up way back, 0.01. What I want to do next is let's set up a button in here, right? Buy NFT and set on click. Set this equal to buy NFT, right? Because we know the function exists, and we should also put the price in here. Let me make it H2. Just make it nice and big. Price. Cool. So connect Metamask. Let's buy this guy, CryptoPunk 224, and now you can see that the price of this is 0.01 ETH. And let's just keep in mind our listing here. Let me just refresh. It's been a while since I've been here. Cool. These are our current listings. If I click buy NFT, there it is. So we have the buy functionality working, and you can see here that this is saying buy, right? And it's going to cost how much? The same as displayed. And we hit confirm, right? Shouldn't be any errors. Okay, cool. And you should see in your MetaMask that this transaction went through, right? We lost 0.01 ETH. So there we go. That's the buy functionality with Thirdweb. We went all the way from creating the NFT to putting it on the marketplace and then buying it now. So all that's really left is to make this look really nice and then demo the app. So the next few parts is just front end. So let's walk through that part. All right, so let's go ahead and create the rest of the NFT sales infos JSX. So let me just clean this up real quick, indent this a bit, and let's get our imports out of the way. The imports that we need is we're gonna import BS credit card to front fill and BS fill tag. This one's gonna come from React icons once again. And the specific React icons it's from is gonna be BS, my favorite one. So after that, we're gonna import a outline question circle. Then we're gonna do an AI outline clock circle. Okay. Then we can do from React icons once again. And this one is the AI one. I also wanna import image from next image. So I say from next/image and we should be good to go. From there, I want to go up into this div. Oh, set up the style object. And now we can start naming our divs. So I'll give this one styles or style.wrapper. And we don't need sales info here anymore. And now that you guys understand this, I feel comfortable erasing it and we'll put it back when it's relevant once again. So inside the wrapper div, we have a header div. Which inside of the header div is going to be header content. Oops, style.header content. Inside header content, here is where our first React icon is going to go. It's going to be AI outline clock circle. And these changes should be showing up, so I'm just going to hit refresh. Expression expected. Oh, let me see. Is it missing a div? Oh, I see. Just close this off and then we should be good to go. Nice. Makes sense. Oh, look at that. So remember when we purchased the NFT, it's not going to show up on here because once it's purchased, it shouldn't be in our listings, right? It's not available for sale anymore. So that's why we only see 3 of these. So our purchase went through. I click on this. There's the image and we shouldn't see sales info there, but we should see the AI outline clock circle. That's what we just inserted. Okay, then after that, it's closing div time. And then from here, let's make another div. Call this one style.main container. And I actually want to give a name to this as well. So this one will have style.header icon. Yeah, from this point on, there's not much functionality left. we're just going to do a lot of styling. So this is going to be that main container for our app, which should hold all the information next to it. Inside that the main container, we're going to have price info container. So I'm going to write it out. Style.price info container. Okay. After price info container, now we'll have a class name of, this one will be a template literal special, style.gray text, and style, right, with another template literal, style.header icon. All right, so what I did here is use a template literal to give this div two class names. One that has gray text and also has the styling of header icon. And now thinking about it, this actually should go inside the AI outline clock circle, right? That's what should have two stylings, gray text and style icon. Cool. So what should go here though is price info container should have the other one, which is still a template literal, and it's gonna have the gray text, style.gray text. And the difference between that and the last one that I got confused on was this one has style.medium font. And I wanted to say buy at. Okay. And then after we say buy at, we can separate this and we can make a price container itself. Okay, and then within that div, what I want to do is make another one, specifically an image. So let's use that image that were imported. And this is where I'm going to have the wrapped ETH logo. So let's do source equal to / wrapped ETH dash logo dot svg. Okay, and then let's give it a width and height. Width is equal to 24. Oh, it looks like it kicked me out. Let me just go back in. 24. Height equal to 24 as well. And then for the alt, you could just say width. All right, let's go ahead and click on this guy. Oh, it says width is not defined. Oh, that should be a string. There you go. Makes more sense. I want to hit refresh, connect MetaMask. Okay, boom, we should only have 3. And there it is. All right, so after the image, I did want to include a span here. And in that span, we can do a class name style.price. And then we could do another price right here. Okay, click this. Hey, there you go. So now we bought the buy at, and here is the price, right? It's starting to come together. Okay, and after we got the price, it's gonna be 2 closing divs here. So I'm gonna make some space in between, and let's add another class here. And the class that I wanna add is going to be the buttons container. So styles or style.buttons container. Within that same div, let's add a div with, now we're gonna have the functionality to buy this NFT. All right, so it's gonna need the class name, all right, and I'm just gonna format it like so. Style, all right, this one actually needs 2. So that if you wanna give it 2 class names, put these backticks over here and start writing your template literal. This will have the style of button as well as the style.purchase button. Okay, then I just want to hit enter right here, and then I'll say on click. This is where we can buy NFT, right? So we have the buy NFT function that we imported. We're gonna add it right here. And as far as the text goes, we'll use a React icon. And the one I want to use is BS credit card to front fill. Nice. So this is what we're going to use to buy, and we can give the class name style.button icon. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else I need for this div? Oh, there is one more right next to that. It's a span, and the span is just going to have class name of style.button and style.offer button. And then we can also make an offer. I'm setting this up just in case you wanted to test out the auction feature. You can create your own function to make an offer or a bid for that specific listing. Okay, let me see, did I do this right? Oh, sorry, this is not make offer. This should be later. This should be for buy now. So this is buy now. And then in my notes here, this shouldn't be just yet. This should actually just have vanilla styling. And it's gonna be text large font semi-bold. All right, sorry about that, guys. I got way too excited. There should be a closing div here. And then in the next one, this div is the one that has the offer button. So I'll just set that up right now. So the backticks, template literal, style dot $, template literal, style dot offer button. Okay, so there you go. So this is the div that contains the buy now button. This will be the div to contain the offer or make offer button. Okay, that makes a lot more sense to me. And the icon that goes with this is going to be another BS fill with the class name. Okay, so here is where the span goes. Span, class name. This one has the same one as the last one. It's gonna have text large font semi-bold and make offer. There we go, and there you have it. That's the JSX. And as I was trying to explain before, this is the make offer button. If you did want to make it clickable, you would just add an onClick to this div, just like how we have an onClick for this div to bind. Here you can make a function called make offer. Okay, now let's get into the styling of this app. Now for the styling, we always start with wrapper, and let's put this right here. And then I'm gonna write out flex column divide Y, and then we can do our border here, and dark divide black. Okay, then we can do a dark rounded LG, and then a dark border black. Okay, just let me double check real quick. Divide Y, border black, border dark. Nice. Okay, so that's it for wrapper. Moving on to header. What I'll add to header is going to be flex as well. Let's center those items with align item center. Then we can justify between to just put space in between the items. Then we can do rounded T large. Then we can do say px6, py4, and then dark. Right, for the dark theme, bg hashtag 262 A30. Okay, awesome. So there's header. After the header, we got header content. Oops, I wrote header again. Header content. And for header content, we want to flex items center, and we do space x2. So that's header icon. Just want to do a quick refresh just to check, double check. Okay, so far so good. After header content, let's do header icon. And header icon is just going to be height 6 width 6. Okay, just move a little slightly. And then we have some stuff that is gray text like this one. So let's set that up. Gray text is literally just going to hold our favorite text gray 400. Okay, let me just reload. Yeah, notice how it's like gray or gray. I'm not too sure which was like the official one. I know it's different in some countries. So let me know in the comments below if you made it this far. We've done all the functionality. I'm just walking you through the rest of the front end to make our app look pretty. So if you're still watching this and you're listening to me right now, I can know if you leave a comment down below and you say gray. And let me know which gray too. Like, is it gray with the E, or do you guys say gray with a A? So if I see gray in the comments, I know you're watching the video. So shout outs to you. All right, after gray text, let's do main container. And then let's do space dash Y dash 4 rounded dash B dash large. And then we can say px dash 6 py dash 4. And for the dark theme, we'll have bg of hashtag 313339. So that should be it for main container. Let's work on price info now. Price info. We're not even on that page anymore. Yep, I know. Price info should have a column. Okay, nice. Okay, cool. Main container is looking good now. And I believe it's price info container, yeah. Okay, price info container, that's just gonna have a space dash y dash one. Sapsy space. Okay, cool. Just add a little bit of space there. Now, we also have one for medium font. Yep, if it has medium font, we can just say font medium. Okay, we also have price container. Price container, it's gonna have flex, items, center, and a space of x dash 2. After price container, let's actually style the price. Text 3L, font bold. Okay, then we can do buttons container. Buttons container will be flex space dash x dash y. Nice. Then a button, all right, this has a little bit, or a lot more, I mean. Button is gonna have flex width 14 rem, items dash center, cursor dash pointer, justify dash center, and space dash x dash 4 with a rounded LG, py dash 2, and a text of white. That's what the button has. All right, we're gonna switch it up. Let's click on this CryptoPunk, and boom. Okay, curious about this little icon, but we'll keep it moving. After that, let's work on the purchase button. And remember, purchase button is the one that lets us buy the NFT, which is this one. Okay, and that purchase button is just gonna have a blue background, which I believe is the same as the one in OpenSea. Nice. So then we can make the offer button, and the offer button is gonna have a border black and a BG of hashtag 363840. There we go, make offer. And the button icon is going to be h-6 with a width -6. Okie dokie, we're getting there. I love the look of these buttons, right? It really is just like the OpenSea ones. Yeah, I am curious about this because it does look a little funny. Let's see. All right, this is our page. I also just brought up the finished one, CryptoPunks. It's looking pretty close. I just click on this. The image is not working on this for some reason, but let's see. Yeah, we're missing the sale ends June 1st and this question mark icon. So I believe that should go right here. Okay, we can quickly make that. What I could do is after the AI outline, we can have a div here. And this is where we can use that gray text again with the E. And then after the gray text, I can say sale ends June 1st, 2022 at 8:20 p.m. GMT. This is static. If you wanted to make it more dynamic, you should find a way to get the date. Okay, cool. Oh, and I actually think this should go in this div. Let me just take a look. Okay, that's looking better. Yeah, and if you're wondering why this is messed up, that's because we need to get this red portion and fix it up. Essentially, it'll look better when I make the rest of the NFT details. So let's see, sale ends June 1st. I also am gonna need this question mark right here. Okay, let's get that working. So let's do AI outline question, right, what is it called? Question circle. Question circle. Give this man a class name. Style dot header icon. There we go. And this should also be in here still. Yeah, this shouldn't be there. Okay, now it's up there. Cool. There should be this background here. Why isn't that showing up? That is in header content. What we got for header content? Yeah, so this should have a darker gray background. Let me just double check. Okay, I think there's an extra closing div here, and that closing div should go right here. So take that last div at the bottom and move it to line 33 for me, and it should go about here. This is the closing div for the header. Right, so why isn't the header getting styled? And now the question mark's over here. Class name. Oh, it says class A name here, class A. If I take out class name, please. Yes, all right, there we go. There is the header. That looks way more accurate to what we want. Awesome. Right, again, it needs to be kind of like smushed in more like this, but that's totally fine. Okay, I'll fix it up at the end. I just want to make the rest of the NFT details now. I think the only thing is I want this to be spaced a little bit better. Let's see what we're missing in the CSS. Okay, and yeah, I wanted some more spacing. P main container. Aha! py-y should be py-4. Once that's done, nice. Okay, there we go. Finally, that's gonna be the NFT sales info, right? All the front end is done for that. Let's work on the next component. Let's keep it going. What I'm gonna do next is head over to our pages and go to assets and then go to token ID. I think it's time we finally do the styling on this because I'm starting to get annoyed. This thing is looking the way it is. So what I'll do next is start styling it. Let's give this a wrapper, right? Because that's the div we set up a little bit a while ago. And if I do colon here and I say comma, once I give this a flex, you're gonna start to see how it's gonna form. Okay, so I hit refresh, I hit this buddy again, and now it's not spread out like it was before. It's flexed, so it's gonna line it up in a row, right? That's the default flex direction. But once I start adding everything else in here, it's gonna look a lot closer to the actual finished product, which I have over here. Okay, and then click on this person. This is what it should look like. I know the NFT image is missing, but if I were to expand this, look at that. It's pretty responsive. Once it gets to this size, it'll start shrinking, and then it's just this if you're on mobile. So let's do the CSS for this. I'm gonna write it out. The first thing I wanna do is the height of 100 VH. Then we can do an mx-auto. And then we'll keep that flex there, and we can do max width -2xl, followed by a flex column. And then we can say space -y-4 with py-4. Cool. And for our dark theme, we can say dark bg and do the hashtag. I believe it's 2022226. Afterwards, there is something that we want to put for LG, right? When it's large, we're gonna have a max width of none. And also if it's large, we want to do a py of 8. And last but not least, when it's large again, we'll do px of 24. Cool, and this is the finished one. Let's go over here, nice and centered. That's the wrapper. Let me just line it up so. Now for the NFT container, which I believe is what it's called, NFT container. Yep, we have that. What I want to do is give it a display flex direction column, and then we can say if it's large, we'll do a flex row. All right, it's a column until it's wide. Then it's going to be a row. Then we can say large space -x4. It works similar to when it's dark, this CSS happens, but when it's LG, then that CSS, this flex direction happens. Okay, let's do left container. Ooh, left container. See, does that match? Yep, left container. And left container can have flex column space -y-4. Left element, then we'll have hidden and then make it block. So now you should start to see a significant change with this. And reset it. Hey, it's good that we don't see it because when we do, yeah. Okay, that's the local host, but what about us? All right, we lost the title, but here it is. Cool. Yeah, that actually helped me realize we need to get the title back and up and running. Let's get the right container. And for the right container, we'll give it a display flex as well. Flex of 1, column, and space -y-4. Alrighty. After the right container, we'll do the buyout container, which will be flex of 1. Oops, I keep doing that. Flex of 1. Okay. Now let's figure out where that title is. It should be here somewhere. Oh, that's right. It should be in basic info over here. Okay, that's good to know. So I'm no need to worry about seeing CryptoPunks and all of this stuff just yet. What I should worry about is my next component, NFT details. What I'll do is in components, NFT details. I like this name a lot because it's literally the folder NFT details, and this is the file nftdetails.js. Okay. Once that's made, I don't want to lose this. So what I'll do is get a token address and put it on the sidebar. So now I don't have to open this and switch back and forth. We can have it like so. Now for the NFT details, I'm going to do a couple imports. which is going to be gr text line left, and then a react dash icon slash gr. Then we can import another React icon. Again, my favorite, bs fill bookmark fill. And just a heads up, this component is going to have another component with inside of it. So there's going to be one more import. I'm not going to make it yet because I want you guys to understand why I'm making it in the first place. So those are the React icons. Let's set up the style object while I'm here. Okay, we have the empty style object. Then we can say const NFT details. And we're going to have some hard-coded data right here. So it's going to be drop down data is equal to an array of objects, right? There's going to be 2 objects, right? Each object represents the actual drop down. So what I mean is if I go to the actual finished product, if I highlight, this is the first object in our drop down. This is the second object in our drop down. I'm going to show you guys how to make that. Cool. And again, this actually works. If I click on this, you can see description properties. It's very bare bones, but again, I want you to take this app and take it to 11 if you understand it. So for that first object, you saw what the name was. It's going to be description, and the icon that it carries will be the, oops, not that, gr text line left one. Did I spell it right? Yes, I did. Self close, but it will take a class name of style.icon, and following the same pattern, this will also have a title of properties, like what are the properties of your NFT icon, bs fill bookmark fill, just like that. Self close and give it the same class name as above. Style.icon. Okie dokie. All right, so there's that drop down data. And again, all of these things need a return. And then when it's JSX, we have the parentheses here. Okay, for now, let's say NFT details as a placeholder, and let's get this imported. And to get it imported into our token ID page, we have to export default NFT details. Cool. Quickly hop over back to here. That's nice and smooth. We just need to import that component, which will be in the same path as this. So NFT details from components / NFT details, and deja vu, it's going to be NFT details. Cool. I feel comfortable erasing this guy. Is this guy alive? Oh wait, no, that's the live one. Cannot resolve NFT details, right? I'm assuming it's a typo. So let's take a look. Details. All right, that makes sense. Let's check this path. NFT details. Let's make sure I typed it the exact same. I guess I spelled it wrong on the component itself, but now it's all good. Let's just double check that. Okay, cool. Hey, when I make a big screen, you can see it because that's what we have set up with our CSS. All right, so NFT details, is it in the right spot? Yes, it is. Cool. We're getting so close, guys. It makes me really happy to see a build almost complete. Alrighty, let's get back to this. And now I feel comfortable giving it its actual name, which is style.wrapper. Okay, we can erase NFT details as the placeholder because we don't need it anymore. And now what I want to happen is let's take drop down data. Let's make use of it. Oh no, drop down data dot map, right? So remember, when we map through something, we're iterating through each element. So how many elements are in drop down data? Correct, Cody. It's going to be 2 elements. So if I say item, I say index because I want to give each thing I render a unique index. And again, parentheses for JSX. And since I'm using parentheses, we don't need a return. We'll do drop down, right? The component that I was talking about. Or just for now, we'll say drop down item. Oh yeah, and let's fix up the map here. That should do it. Reconnect to Metamask. I've been clicking on 246. And again, we won't see it because we got to make it bigger. Boom, drop down item. We got 2. All right, 2 drop down items for 2 items in the array. If you wanted, again, if you wanted to build this further, I'd probably add a description that we could use later. All right, so let's go into, oh yeah, I could just go from here, make this bigger. I should go into NFT details and let's build out the drop down component next. Or actually, better yet, let's get the style. What am I doing? Style's pretty easy. It's just wrapper and comma here. And we'll say flex direction column. We're we're gonna do a divide -y, rounded, large, overflow. And then after the overflow hidden, let's do a border dark for our dark theme. And if it's dark, we're gonna divide black. And again, if it's dark, we're gonna do a border black as well, followed by the next thing, which was the icon, I believe. And then for the icon, there's not much to this one. It's just the height 5, width 5, and then text gray 600. Okie dokie. See if that made a difference. Okay, cool. That's the outline we expect. All right, it should be more like this, but that's totally fine. Oh, I see, dark. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, that's gonna be NFT details. So now if we wanted to start making drop down item, I'll go back into my components, make a new file, and we'll say drop down.js. Cool. And since I want to keep that, whereas NFT details, let's also add drop down to our side panels. All right, so do I have two? Okay, replace that one. All right, so NFT details, or in that case, drop down is in its own thing, right? So what is drop down? If I go to the finish one, it is the component that has the actual functionality of this modal, right? This drop down. All right, so luckily we have pre-installed a package for you, so you don't have to install it, and it's going to be called headless UI/React. So let's import it. And the thing that it's called disclosure. From @headless UI/React. Okay, and then there's some React icons I would like to install, which is those arrows that go up and down. We'll do BI chevron up and BI chevron down. From React, -icon/BI. Cool. Set up the skeleton of styles so we don't get styles undefined again. Then we can say const drop down is equal to, all right, function based component. I want to put in a return here, and temporarily we'll have a drop down component so that we could see it. Okay, going back to NFT details, we can import that in here. So we can say import drop down from, it should just be ./drop down. And instead of this guy, I can say drop down. So, let's see, does he have any issues? Check the render method of NFT details. Okay, it was fine before. I guess they didn't like the way I imported drop down. Yeah, it's fine. So let's do import drop down from ./drop down. Is it like that? Okay, it likes that better. Okay, then I want to say drop down right here. Invalid. Expected a string. Oh. I know. My kryptonite, it's export default drop down. Right? Oh wait, I gotta keep it consistent. This should be drop down. And the file. Oh, okay, cool. This file is the same thing. Yes. Drop down component. Let's go. Okay. All right. So now for the fun part, to get this function working. All right. So to get started using disclosure and getting those menus up, we need to get the disclosure tag up and running. All right. And this is what we're essentially going to be the parent div of the dropdown component. And to get some functionality with it, we're going to say parentheses, curly brackets, open, and then curly bracket, parenthesis, arrow, and then we'll say opening parenthesis. All right, which then we're going to need a fragment here because it needs to have a parent component. And what we could say is it will have a disclosure.button, which is built into disclosure. All right, and for some reason it doesn't write the rest of it for me, so I'll just manually write it. That's fine. And I'm just going to write the JSX for the dropdown. So this first div, it's going to be called the button wrapper instead of just wrapper, which then holds a div with a class name of button left. Okay, cool. There's the closing div for it. And then in button left, it's going to take in an icon, right? And the icon comes from something that we'll be passing down to dropdown. So that tells me I'm passing down props. Right, I'm already thinking ahead because I know the build, but you'll see in a second. For now, so it doesn't get confusing for you guys, I'll put a placeholder here. This is where the icon will go. Okay, right next to the icon will be a span tag. In that will be the name of style.title. And this is actually where the title prop goes in as well, but we haven't set up and passed props yet, so title will be there temporarily. So then it should be closing div followed by some conditional rendering. So we're going to use a ternary again. So if open is true, and don't worry about what open is, it comes with disclosure, that's why it's in here. So if it's open, right, the dropdown, right, what should we see? That's all you need to know. So if it's open, we should see the chevron down icon, right? Else you should see the other icon. All right, so let's follow the logic with what I just said. If it's open, we should see the bi chevron down icon, and it'll be style.right icon. Okay, and closing tag. Cool. And else, right, of the ternary, it's gonna be the bi chevron up with the same class name. And let me do class name equals style.right and closing. Okay, closing div, disclosure, button, and now let's get the panels themselves, which will be under this. We'll say disclosure panel. And again, it doesn't do the dot part for me, so I'll write it myself. And then we'll say div with class name style dot inner text container. And it will have title in between, but again, placeholder. Okay, so that's the JSX. Let's just take a look at what it looks like now. I missed this guy, 2025. Open this guy up. A icon title and title, right? So this is where it goes. So it's static right now. We should make these more dynamic. But as you can see, it's pretty close to the real thing. Yeah? Cool. Now before I pass stuff down, let's just style it since we're already here. Okay, so let's get started with button wrapper. And button wrapper is just gonna have a display flex with an align item center and a justify between p-4. Oh wait, this is the finished one. Okay, separated them. Now button left is also gonna have a flex property. It's items dash center space dash x dash 4. And then we can open that up now. Oops, we can actually X this tab out. Okay, and then we have title, which will have just font semi-bold. Okay, all right, so just a little bit bolder. And then the right icon will be h-6 with 6 text dash gray dash 400. Then inner text container will have bg dash gray 50 p dash 4 bg of dash hashtag 3133339. Oops, this should have a comma. And now it should stop yelling at me. Okay, cool. Awesome. Right, so we don't see the icons because that's what icon should go, and the title should be there as well. So now let's pass down the props. What's the smallest I can make this without not seeing the icons? Okay, it's here. It's the limit. That's fine. Okay, back to NFT details. Let's pass stuff down. Okay, the first thing I want to pass down is that when we map through something, it should have a unique key prop, which we're handling with the index from the map. After that, the title we're passing down is going to be the item, right? The item being this object. And then how do we get the title if it's an object? Exactly. Item dot title. Okay. From there, we can do an icon is equal to icon, or sorry, item dot icon. Yes. Close that off. And we have 2 of these. Nice. Cool, so it still says icon title because we only passed down the prop. We now have to accept the prop. So we accept it by destructuring it right here. Now we could just use it. So anywhere it says icon, I would like to replace it with just icon. And anywhere it says title, right, I'd like to replace it with, there was a couple more. Cool, and you can replace this with like description, right? So if I open this now, it says description the same as title, and the properties of your app can also be here. Okay, so you can find a way to make that dynamic. That will be my challenge for you guys. But take a look. That's looking pretty clean. All right, we're just pretty much missing this section right here. All right, so that's the NFT details. All right, are you guys ready for our last component? I know I am. So what I'm gonna do is let's get to that ID page again. Okay, address, token ID, and I feel like we should make this bigger, make this a little smaller, and plop this guy right there. So we don't have to jump from place to place. X this one out, we just need 2. Cool, so let's check on the last component we need to make, and that's this guy, NFT basic info right here. What we need to do is create that component. So I'll be over here, let's make a new file, and I'll say NFT basic info.js. Yeah, NFT basic info.js. Okay, cool, and it should be empty, but we can set it up. So now we can switch between the token ID and NFT basic info. Okay, I'll make this full screen, and let's get these imports in here. So if we're working on NFT basic info, let's import the React icons we'll use, which is bi refresh, bi link external from react-icons/bi. Cool. We'll also import another set, which is md more vert from react-icon/md. All right, then we can import this icon. There's going to be one more component, just like before with dropdown. This one's going to be called subinfo, but again, I'll leave it out just so it makes sense to you guys. So const style, here's our object skeleton. Then we can say const NFT basic info equal to the function, and it returns JSX, which will just say div NFT info. Okay. We also need to export default NFT basic info. Cool. So now it's there, we can bring him in and import it as well. So NFT basic info from /components/NFT details /NFT basic info. You with me? Cool. Just checking. All right. And since we have it already here, let's pass down the props it will need. I want to pass in a prop with the key of name, and it's just going to take listing, right? The listing's name. So how do we get to the listing name? If you remember, it's going to be .asset.name. So .asset.name. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for NFT basic info. I'm gonna use this time to see what we made. Can't resolve icon/bi. Well, that's weird, we used that already. Oh, icons, that'd probably help. Okay, I like it. Connect Metamask, click on this one, let it load. Hey, NFT info. So NFT info is, whoops, not yet. NFT info is all the stuff here like I mentioned. So if it's in the right place, we should be good to go. Yep, that's about right. So I'll load up the structure for it, clear this out, then I'll say class name. Oh, actually NFT basic info has an empty div as a parent, and then it starts to have classes in here. So the first class will be style.topContainer, and then within that it will be div with the class name, style.collection, collection title. Here the title will be called CryptoPunks, not Doodles. All right, so this is again static data, and then we have the, which will be styles.action items, and then the action items will be a lot of these buttons over here. So a smart way to do this, to make use of these four, right, these four icons, yep, is to put them in array and then map through them, just like we did with the other object for the description and properties. So let's make that array, and it should be within here. So I'll say const action items. Okay, and that's going to be an array of objects. All right, so I know there's always going to be 4 objects because of the 4 icons. So I'll just set up the objects. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now we just got to fill out the objects, and each object is going to have a title of icon, and we're just going to insert each icon for that object. So the first one is bi refresh, right? And all of them will have the class name of style.icon. Same kind of pattern. So I guess what I'll copy is this part. Okay, coolio. Then we can do a bi link external. Paste that. Oh wow, I didn't mean to copy that stuff. Just this. Well, that didn't go according to plan. Okay, that's better. Spacing though could use work. Oh no, I guess that's just how it's gonna be, which is fine. All right, so for this one, it also needs icon. It's gonna be MD share. This one with icon will be MD more vert, right? And paste. Cool. So do I have the right names? Tends to happen sometimes. Yep. Cool. Let me just see. Oh yeah, CryptoPunks is right there. Yep, and we don't see any of the icons because I haven't quite mapped them through yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So now we can say action items.map. We're iterating through that array of objects, and for every single item in that array, I also want to generate an index. Main thing though, for every item, let's reuse some JSX. So I can say div and put the key in here, which should be the index, right? Then class name, style.actionItem container. And in between here is the key. We'll say that's the item.icon. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. Finally, something's loading. It says BI refresh. Oh, I could have sworn I spelled this right. Refresh. Hey, all right, we got all the action items. Cool. So let's just see where this closes. All right, it should be closing div. Now, right over here, we'll have another div. I'll give this a name of style.assetTitle. Okay, and it'll take in name, which is the property that we passed in. And here we'll have div with the class name style.subInfoContainer, and it's going to take in a component. So NFT sub component will go here. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the place that I was, which is right here. Perfect. All right, we just need to style all of it. So let's get started styling. I want to say top container is flex items dash center and justify dash between, and then we can do collection title. Right, we can see how those icons move to the side. Then we can say text large font semi bold text blue dash 500. Then we have action items with flex divide dash x divide dash gray dash 300 rounded large border gray dash 300 for my action items. Yay! Okay, so that adds the little border around the action items. Let's see, what do we have next? Action item container. You know what, since I'm down here, let's just put that there. Okay, for my action item container, we can add a flex property here and then a cursor pointer, just to make it feel like we can click on it. Can't forget the colon. Yep, cursor pointer is working. Then we have an items dash center. Then we have a justify dash center and a p-3. Cool. All right, it's making it bigger and separated it out. I like it. So for the actual icons themselves, we can say h-6, w-6, text-gray, dash 500. And then for the dark theme, say text gray 400. Asset title, it's gonna be pt-6 with a text of 4XL. And then we can give it a font bold. Let's just see how it looks so far. Oh, we have to pass down name. Duh. Wonder why I didn't say that before. Okay, no worries. Yep, font bold looks pretty good. That's the title. I also wanted to add a text gray here of 700. And then a dark property of gray 100. Okay, then sub info container can go right here. Let's reload it, but I want to have it hidden large block. Right, so this doesn't exist yet, but there is an owned by here. And then when I make it small, all that owned by information right here is going to get hidden when it's big. Okay, so if I make it small, it's gone. But when I make it large, it's displayed like a block. Cool. For us, if I click onto here, we don't see the NFT subcomponent. When I make it bigger, then you see the NFT subcomponent. Oh, this is so cool. It looks just like the finished thing. I almost can confuse them. Okay, I guess that's the next thing to do is just mix the component. So I want to make the component, let's just see, take this guy. Ooh, I don't want to do that. NFT basic info, I took it out the folder. Should be back now. I just want to go to NFT details and just make a new file and say NFT subinfo.js. Cool. And this should be the last component we make. And what we can do now is import the React icons. Okay. AI fill heart is the ones that we're going to use from react-icons/AI. I think that's it for imports. Okay, cool. So then we can say const style equals the skeleton and write out NFT subinfo. Nice. Then for the return, let's just put div NFT subinfo. Cool. Export default NFT subinfo is next. Let me see if I can make this bigger because I want to add another page onto this. I think it was basic info, but I didn't want to lose the pages. Okay, there we go. It's good to know. Cool. So NFT subinfo is here. This is NFT basic info. All right, so let's import that last component. Import NFT subinfo from /NFT subinfo. Cool, it resolved the module. And let's just see if it's there. It is, NFT subcomponent. That makes me happy. So let's go to subinfo and let's write out the good old JSX. Okay, I'll erase this. You know the drill. Class name style.wrapper. Class name style.text container. And here it's going to be static, but it's going to be owned by class name, so we can style that creator, style owner, and say ABC. Just a static owner. And div class name style.icon text info container. Here's where the icon will go. AI fill I with class name style.text. Wait, no, it's not text. Style.icon. Yep, there you go. That makes sense. And now the div next to that icon will be the style.textInfo. So text info container will be 4.4K views. Again, static data. So it should just be closing div, and then div here. This one I'll call class name style.icon text info container as well. We have two of these, and this one will have the other icon of heart. And for the class name of that one, it's going to be style.icon, of course, followed by another div, which is going to be the style.info container, or text info, sorry. Text info container with 200 favorites. Cool. So it should be closing div, and there we go. Let's take a look at what it looks like without CSS. That's interesting. Now, why isn't it showing up? It doesn't say NFT sub component anymore. Maybe if I restart the server. Oh, I tricked myself. All right, did I import it? Yeah, I did. I just didn't use it. It should be right here. NFT sub info. Okay, that's more like it. We should see some errors. I've never been so happy to see errors. So let's see, AI fill, put an E in there. Connector Metamask. It's already connected, so it instantly logs in. Got this guy. Ooh, there we go. NFT sub info. All right, let's get to work on styling it. So I'm excited now. Wrapper is going to just be flex space X Elon Musk and py-x. Okay, then we have the text info container, which is going to have text that is large. The font will be medium. The text I think should be gray 500, and the same pattern as before. If it's dark, we don't need it to be that gray, so we can say gray 400, which is the lighter shade. Cool. And then for the owner, I believe owner is next. Oh, let me just take a moment to reload. I didn't realize we needed to refresh. Owner is not defined. Well, I didn't even have owner. Cool. That's about right. So we'll say owner now is going to be text blue, because I want it to be blue. And then icon text info container. And we can say flex, items dash center space dash x dash 2. Then we can do icon, which is h dash 7 with dash 7 text dash gray dash 500 dark text gray dash 400. Dun dun dun. Now, why you don't load? Oh, can't reach the REPL. Let's do a yarn dev again and start it up. Okay, there you go. Just hit refresh and it finally loaded. Oh my God, guys, that's it. Look at this beautiful front end. We are good to go with the drop downs and everything. All right, this is dynamic. If I go back and load, I click on this CryptoPunk. This page is loaded. It's all set up and good for you to go. Whenever you make a new listing, it should just appear with its own dynamic page and information right here. This is the price. Awesome. So I think it's fitting if I log out and buy an NFT with a different account. So let's see if it all works. Fingers crossed. Disconnect. We'll connect with Metamask. I don't want to be account 1. I want account 3 because it has 0.1 ETH in there. Let's hit connect. So now for the very first time, I'm logged in with a different account. As you can see, I'm on account 3. It's active. Oops. This one is not connected because I'm on account 1. We should switch to account 3. This one's connected. All right, so which one should we buy, guys? Did you say a 2046? I was thinking the same thing. So let's see if we can buy this one. There we go. Buy now actually works. MetaMask lets us know that we can buy it for the exact same price as listed. We're not going to get scammed and this is going to cost us 20 ETH. It's exactly what we want. Cool. So it just loaded the gas fees. We can hit confirm. And once that's done, we just wait for this to be pending and bam, it's not pending anymore. It's officially purchased. When you go on Thirdweb, you'll see that the NFT is disappearing as well as it takes some time. But when I go back to the main page, oh wow, that's actually really fast. So we bought the NFT, so it's off the direct listings. How cool is that, guys? All of this was possible thanks to Replit, Thirdweb, and Infura. We've made the OpenSea clone. So pat yourself on the back if you guys made it this far. Congratulations, you have a build. What we usually do here at Clever Programmer is we usually deploy our app so that you can share with your friends, what I always like to say. But we don't need to do that if we're using Replit, because if I show you guys, I'm gonna go open up a new browser with a different email. So now it's this color, paste in that link. Look at that, I can already see my REPL live, same URL. So that's where it's being hosted. If I were to click connect MetaMask, I type in my password, and now I'm logged in with a completely different account. And I can see the same listings that everybody else sees. So go ahead, what's stopping you from making your own NFT marketplace and your account? So what I wanna see from you guys now is, this is a public REPL that you guys can fork, and I'll be able to see all the projects that you make. Go ahead, if you haven't already, go to this website on Replit and go ahead and fork this REPL, because I can see all the REPLs you guys make and I want to see some variations. Change up the front end, make it your own marketplace. I'd love to showcase some of my favorite ones. So go ahead, have fun, and I see you guys in the next video.